Before we start the session tonight, what I would like to have our solicitor do is to mention what we discussed in brief in the last executive session.
Hi, good evening. I'm Kathleen Menard. I'm here in place of Joe Clement, the solicitor tonight. The board met after the last session meeting briefly in the matters of in executive session, discussing personnel, real estate, and pending litigation.
Okay, I would ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For this next section, we have typically utilized the consent agenda to move the things along a little bit faster. What I will do tonight is I will go through and ask what we typically would ask in the past for things as far as the minutes. So I'll ask if any of the board members have any questions or comments about the minutes.
I do not.
I do not. Is Mark online? He is. He's not on yet.
It's okay. We can move forward.
We can move forward.
Quorum.
Yeah, they're quorum. I put a motion forward to approve the minutes for
July 10th.
July 10th, plus anything else descriptive about those minutes that we may have discussed privately. Have there been any changes to the minutes since? No. Okay. Okay.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yes. I do. Okay, let's
It's okay. Just go backwards.
we'll just go back to that later. We're gonna change the
No, you can move it. You can do it now.
we're gonna move the change things on the written agenda. On the written agenda, the third thing on the agenda is public comment on agenda items. We're just gonna move through and conduct the rest of the business here under the consent agenda, and then we'll go right to the public comment on agenda items. Okay. So has every one of the board members reviewed the bills and the reports that were submitted for this BOS meeting?
Yes.
Okay. I don't think we have to go through and approve each bill unless, I don't think we did that before. And part of the consent agenda is that we do not need that. The bills are available online over there. I believe you can go onto that computer and see some more of the details, and I believe sometimes they are printed out over there. So if anyone wants to see the bills, they are welcome to do that. And we also have them, Bob, we have them available online. Yes, yes. Okay, so I won't go through the reports. So let's go to the next item.
So you need a motion to approve the
I'm
consent
sorry.
agenda.
Yep, yep. I put a motion forward to approve the bills and the reports for August 7th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mark.
Mark, remember that if you're seconding something, you have to come in and sign it. So if you can't do that, I'm happy to do it for you.
Okay.
So put me down as the second on that.
Yeah.
please.
Moving forward to the next agenda item, we're going to move towards public comment on agenda items. Is there anyone here in attendance or at home that would like to mention anything about any of the agenda items? Please stand up. Could you please come up to the microphone up here and give your name and address?
Yeah, my name's Mark Rome, 217 Brownbacks Church Road. I'd like to make, just bring some information on a burden that the bamboo is having on my property. If I could do that.
Yes, you can.
And else we asked, one to Mark, he's not here.
Before you continue, I know I've seen all the emails related to this. Is this, I'm sorry, I don't know.
This is on the agenda.
Yes.
Appreciate Mark's patience in regards to this. When it comes up for vote, I have a PowerPoint slides to show actually what Mark is dealing with, so everybody will get firsthand of the pictures and the problems.
Okay.
That he is experiencing.
Is it okay to go through this?
Yes.
Okay, so the first page there shows the lots around my place. I'm 217. 213, Jason property has a bamboo crop in there and it's running bamboo and it's coming into my place. Turn to the next page. It'll show the property line between 217 and 213 and where the bamboo source is. And the next page gives you a shot of the bamboo crop at 213. And if you have any questions on this, just jump in.
I have a question on this. Is there anything that could possibly prevent this bamboo from moving? Because I've seen in other townships, they usually request that there be some type of a barrier, sometimes 2 or 3 feet deep. A lot of times it's concrete so that the bamboo doesn't go all over the place. Is there anything like that here at all?
There's nothing in place yet.
Nothing in place yet.
Right. So then the next page shows the property line. And I believe the owner of 213 was mowing there, trying to keep that from coming over, but it doesn't stop the roots. So the bamboo ran into my place. It's in 30 feet now, 35 feet. And here you can see some of it popping up on my side. And if you go to the next page, you'll see some more shots of that.
Could you show us which page you're on?
Yeah, I'm on this page and now I'm gonna go to the page with purple lines.
Okay.
That's gonna be, just to give you some idea how this stuff runs. So the purple line shows how the bamboo, those are the roots. And they just travel up through and then they start pushing up the crop, the bamboo crop. The next page shows another runner. This is all of my property.
Mark, could you tell us how far it is into your property?
It's west about 30, 35 feet, and then it's going north and south a good 50, maybe more feet now, going along the property line.
From 213 into adjoining properties, that's how
Yeah,
far it's
213 into 217.
Mark, how long have you been there?
3 years.
All right, in 3 years that you've been there, how would you describe the growth rate or the expansion rate of the bamboo?
Well, when I first got in there, I went to speak to the owner of 213, and I told him it's coming over onto mine. And so he was mowing on the back of his property, mowing it down. And I was spraying it on my side, trying to control it, which kind of controlled it. This summer, it went out of control. I don't know why, but it just went into my property with a vengeance. And the real burden, because I got a quote to take it out. And if you go to the last page, there's a quote there from a local contractor. To take out what's on my property, he said you have to dig it all out. You have to get all the roots out or it's going to come back. So they take all the ground out. And they have to get rid of that ground. They have to bring new ground in.
new soil.
New soil.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his quote, as you can see it laid out there, what he's estimated it's gonna cost to get it out of there. You know, it's gonna be over 10 grand to get that out of my property. And the longer we wait, it just keeps going.
Yeah.
So if you mow it down, the roots will just keep going. It'll just keep going and trying to find a place to come back up. So what they told me was it'll just spread right through my pasture into the next property. If you mow it, it's not gonna kill it, not gonna get rid of it.
Yeah.
So I'm really concerned of what I'm gonna do here with this thing. It's become a real burden to me and I know it has to be dealt with. And I'd like the board to consider all this. You guys have any questions for me?
It's time.
Yeah, we don't, I don't, well, I have one question. I guess have you looked into the type of bamboo that's coming into your property? Because some of them are worse than others.
Yeah, they just said it's running bamboo. That's what the guy told me to look at it.
Okay,
He didn't tell me the exact species.
right. And I know from all my own personal experience dealing with this when I was a lot younger, it just goes and
It keeps
it's
going.
very hard to kill.
Yeah,
Unless
you-
there's barriers around it.
you know, you can cut it, you can round up it, you
Yeah.
can use other stuff on it that's even more harsh. I don't even like dealing with those chemicals, but it doesn't stop it.
Hmm.
It just keeps coming back. Crossbow doesn't stop it.
Mhm.
Nothing stops it.
Mhm.
So I wanted to express that, my burden to you guys, and hopefully you guys can give me some suggestions.
Appreciate you bringing it to our
Yes.
attention.
Thanks for bringing it up.
You got it.
Thank you very much. Bob, considering what we're going to discuss tonight, I guess, could we, I don't know if there's anything we can do on behalf of Mark, who brought this up. I'm just talking about suggestions that you might be able to communicate with him later in the week.
We actually have, there's legislation on the agenda tonight
Right.
to adopt the code, which then that means tomorrow we can go ahead and cite the neighbor.
Got it. Okay. Are there any other public comments
On the agenda item.
on the agenda items, or anyone at home? Well, if you could please come up here to the microphone.
Monica Scriver, 102 Valley Creek Lane. Can I just get clarification tonight? You plan on adopting the bamboo ordinance?
Well, Monica, it's the motion hasn't yet been made. That's on the agenda. It's both a bamboo ordinance and also a weed ordinance at the same time.
But you're going to pass it tonight.
Well,
The topic for discussion
It's
for the
okay.
board.
right.
My hope is that it does get approved tonight so that we can start enforcement. But then once it's approved, we can send it back to the EAC and the Planning Commission for further review. But there are several of these, and I'll bring up examples during the vote to show you why.
Okay.
We just can't wait on some of these, and Mr. Rule is a perfect example.
But the motion, I have to go, I read through everything, but the motion is just really to move this on to the Planning Commission, EAC.
No,
For
this is
review
for
now.
No,
approval.
it's for adoption, Craig.
Just wanted to clarify. All right. Please.
Elaine Melito, 370 Holman Mill Road. I just don't understand what this public comment on agenda items mean. Does this mean we're saying we don't want something on the agenda or not? Or is it something that we can wait to talk about at the motion? I don't understand.
Good.
To address that, Elaine, it's comment on the items where you can speak on any of these items. If you want it to be pulled off, that's something that we can consider too at all. It's public comment on this.
Okay, all right. Well, then I'd just like to say something about the bamboo ordinance. I have no problem with the bamboo ordinance, and the EAC has submitted a bamboo ordinance to the board to be considered tonight. But I do have a problem with the weed ordinance because I don't think that that's been vetted properly. And it's kind of, there are all kinds of new ideas about what a weed is and that kind of thing. So I would like to suggest that we save the weed ordinance because we have lots of examples of great weed ordinances that we would like to look at. And maybe move on the bamboo ordinance that came from the EAC because it's been looked at very carefully and it has some areas that are improvements on the bamboo ordinance that's proposed here. So that would be my proposition. It's essentially the same. You want me to talk about what the differences are now?
No,
Yeah.
but I know where you're heading with all of this, and
Okay.
there were some discussions on the part in regards to the weeds in this ordinance.
Yeah.
So it's really mostly for nuisance weeds, and we do have the option to go back and change this, and there's some references as to authorities on nuisance weeds. Mark or Ed, would you like to comment on this part? I know there was some email conversation on this, on just the merits of the ordinance.
Yeah, the weed portion of the ordinance seems to talk about weeds and noxious weeds as if as if we're talking two different things. That may have been the intent. And if it is, I think Elaine's got a good point. The word weed is used in the first paragraph of the ordinance. Perhaps needs some explanation, maybe definition. Although I'm concerned about defining weed, the word weed, without tying it to a specific generally recognized definition in the industry. But at this point, I guess what Elena is proposing, it's not a bad idea. We'll talk about it when the motion is raised. We could talk about the possibility of simply approving the bamboo ordinance and then leaving the weed portion for another meeting.
Mr. Chairman. Okay. Yes.
I think they're all good points. However, we haven't had a weed ordinance in this township that I can even go back to that we've been able to enforce. And you'll see as part of the slide presentation, we're not talking about native weeds that are in rain gardens or that. We're talking about weeds that have grown like 20, 30 feet, 15 feet, 10 feet, 5 feet that are on properties that are a nuisance. We are not going out there to say, well, you have to take this milkweed down or that. No, these are weeds, and you'll see. We can differentiate that. We've dealt with the arborist, the township arborist, on both the bamboo and the weeds. And again, the more details you get into, we're not going to be able to cite. And the issue is, and you'll see the example, I think we need to put these in place so that we can start enforcing these types of things, and then once these are approved, send these back to the EAC to refine where this is at in the definition. But it's long overdue, and our hands are tied because there are a lot of issues that we have no enforcement issue, especially the bamboos, which is a shame that we've never had anything for that.
Well, it's just that the weed ordinance that I saw, that you have on the agenda tonight doesn't take into consideration the newest ideas about how people should be, manicured yards and all that. And so I understand that we need some kind of enforcement, and I understand the bamboo's a real problem. I have it across the street from me, and it might just come over the road. I don't know.
Elaine.
Which would be very disastrous, but
I just want to say,
Yeah.
what I'll do here is once we see the presentation and we talk a little bit more about the ordinance, I'll let people come up and talk about, the weeds portion, and we could possibly change the motion. So it might be better after we see the presentation to talk about it further.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome. Are there any other comments?
Good evening, folks. Hi, Mark.
How are you?
Well, thank you. One of the agenda items tonight is $45,000 of ARPA money for premium pay. Should I be discussing that now or waiting until that comes up?
Why don't we wait? I'll allow people to talk about where ARPA funds are used. So I'll say that as well. We will.
Okay, so any of the items that are underneath there, we'll just wait till they.
We'll wait,
for
yeah.
public.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, or good evening. Corey Murray, 201 Parkview Boulevard, also library representative from East Vincent. Just a few quick things. I just wanted to let you know, we're actually going to be celebrating our 10th anniversary of our new building. So I have postcards for all of you to save the date. Hopefully you can join us. And that's open to the public. As you guys are getting happy or getting ready to help us, we're sponsoring the Elmwood Park Zoo is going to be coming to East Vincent Township building on August 20th at 10:30 in the morning, because the presentation needed to be in bigger space. So thank you very much for helping us with that. We're very excited. Hopefully if you have kids, come because it's going to be awesome. And then we have 2 events that we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary. Saturday, the 14th, which I also know is September 14th, which is Community Day for East Vincent. So we'll be having something similar timing, so stop by, from there or here. And then we're gonna have an adult only evening event on the 21st to celebrate our 10-year anniversary in our building. And another thing that's kind of interesting is a rabies vaccination clinic for dogs and cats, September 28th, 9 to 2 in a tent outside the library. So it's very minimal pricing, registration not required. And then last but not least, our big fundraiser for the fall is our gift card bingo on Saturday, October 19th. So more info to. Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you. Any other questions? Is there anything online? Nothing online, okay. We're going to move on to the business agenda. First item on the agenda is the consideration of a motion to approve the purchase of replacement rifles for the police department.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
These are replacement rifles for the police department to keep them up to date. Chief, I'm not sure if there's anything to add to this. Okay.
yeah,
How many? How many?
3. Sir, I see the purchase here of the, it's under 7,000. Now, these rifles that are being replaced, is there any chance we can get some amount of money to sell them, something like that? Till you turn it back in. Okay. Okay, I'll move forward with the motion here. I move that East Vincent Township Board of Supervisors authorize the purchase of replacement rifles for the police department in an amount not to exceed $6,561.76.
I'll second it.
Are there any comments?
Questions on the
on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, there's going to be a presentation here for Chester County Bridges project update. Is there? All right, okay.
Good evening.
If you could please
My name
introduce
is-
yourself.
I'm sorry?
If you could please introduce yourself.
Yes. My name is Eric Quinn, Chester County Bridge Program Manager. I'm here with Sandy Martin, Bridge Engineer with McCormick Taylor. And we've also got David Blackburn, Preservation Coordinator with the Chester County Planning Commission.
Nice to
Sandy is
meet you
going to
all.
give us an update on the county's project to rehabilitate County Bridge 190, 7 stars over French Creek or Kennedy Bridge.
Thank you.
Okay, it's been a couple years since we've been to East Vincent Township. I think some of the board members changed, managers have changed. So we came back tonight to try to give an update on the project that's been in design for a handful of years by Chester County. So I hope everybody's familiar with this, with the bridge, because it is definitely a treasured a bridge for the county and for the township. But we have a project to essentially rehabilitate it. So that could mean many things. And right now we're in final design. We're very close to the end of final design, which is good news. I wouldn't go necessarily on the dates on the screen for the advertiser, the let, but we do plan to be in construction in the spring of 2025. We're currently in right-of-way acquisition process. And this project, just for information, is a county-funded project. It's called Act 13. It's a Marcellus Shale funding. So there's not PennDOT oversight. So the county will be letting the project and managing the project. Built in 1856. And a little bit of history for those that don't know, in 1978, that's when we put the steel girders under the bridge. But unfortunately, in 1988, about 10 years later, there was a fire at the bridge and it burned pretty much down to everything was gone except for those steel girders and the stone masonry substructure. So the county went and built the bridge back. And if you don't know this, it's built out of eki, which is an African hardwood, which has a fire rating, spread rating of equal to asbestos. So it has never burned down since, and it would never burn down. The good news is eki is super durable, and most of those components we don't have to replace. Unfortunately, the superstructure, which is the steel underneath, is in very poor condition. I think the fire, they reused those beams from the fire, and I think those beams unfortunately suffered some damage during the fire, and they've deteriorated pretty rapidly in the recent years. The bridge has a 10-ton weight restriction due to the superstructure, and there are no safety features. And when I say safety features, there's no guide rail or anything that would stop a vehicle from hitting the bridge or the stone wing walls. We usually include this slide real quickly to give an idea of the capacity. Now, the nice thing about the covered bridge, it already has a height restriction at 10 feet, 5 inches, and that's not going to change. So some of these vehicles wouldn't be able to cross that bridge even though we're rehabilitating it. But we are going to gain a weight capacity of Pennsylvania legal load. So it won't be restricted by weight anymore, but it still will be restricted by height. So this is the underside. I don't know how many people have had the luxury of climbing underneath. I have. And it's much rougher than you might imagine. And these are those girders that we've tried to paint them, we tried to preserve them, but they just continue to deteriorate. That middle picture is pretty telling. There's not a whole lot left in some of the bracing. So it's well overdue for a rehabilitation. So I said, we're going to increase the structural capacity. We're going to remove the weight restriction. And because it's historic, it is on the National Register, even though it's really a replica bridge because it burned down and everything there today is not the original 1856 structure. But we are going to build to the Secretary of the Interior standards. So it is going to remain a historic listed bridge. And then we're going to put new approach guide rail on the bridge. And then we're going to raise the height of the wing walls. If you see in this picture how low they go to the ground, but we're going to raise them so we can attach that guide rail.
How high will they be raised?
About 3.5 feet.
3.5 feet.
Yeah, to attach the guide rail. That's not an exact number, but roughly.
Mhm.
So we did have to have this project reviewed by the State Historic Preservation Office, and they determined that what we're proposing has no adverse effect. So that's why it's going to remain listed. This is considered by Chester County Planning Commission as a Class 1 resource, and it is one of 15 covered bridges in Chester County, of which are owned by 5 are owned by Chester County itself. Most of you probably know that it crosses French Creek, and French Creek is an exceptional value waterway, migratory fishery, and approved trout water. It's really a protected stream. For that reason, it will have in-stream construction restrictions from February 15th to June 1st. So that makes our construction a little challenging. We have to try to work around that. We won't be able to do any work in the stream. The good news on a rehab, and I'll show you how we're going to do the rehab, we don't have a whole lot of work in the stream. The detour, I'm just going to read through it because that map you really can't see. It's already been submitted to the township for their approval, but it is going to go basically west of the bridge from West 7 Stars Road to Ridge Road to Sheeter Road to Pewtown Road to Kimberton Road to Hares Hill, then back to West 7 Stars Road. It's a pretty long detour, but I'm sure there's some local cut throughs that aren't officially the detour, but this is what it's going to be proposed for the project. And the engineer, Larson Design Group, is designed the project. I am the county bridge engineer. I'm not with the design firm, but they anticipate the project will last 6 to 10 months. So they put 6 months up here. This is actually how did I lose it? Thank you. This is a profile view of the bridge. Other than the raised wing walls and the guide rail, it's really, the layperson probably won't even know we did anything, except it's going to look a little cleaner and newer. We're going to put new cedar shake roof on it. We're going to replace some siding. We're going to raise those wing walls and then put the approach guide rail. But all of the eki superstructure, all of the burr arch truss that's inside of the bridge will be the same as it is today. We're not replacing any of that. And then you don't see the steel girders like they are today. They're going to be concealed. And that's the way it'll be going forward. There'll be new steel girders. So this is a cross-section view of it. Basically, it's going to pretty much be as it is today. There's not a whole lot changing other than we're putting new steel, new siding and new roof. So the timber trusses are going to continue to function independently of the existing bridge. They carry their own weight, but the steel girders actually carry the traffic load. And this is the last slide I had tonight. It's a bit of an engineering, but I'm going to try to describe it to you. To be able to hold the extra dead load and the live load that we're proposing to get from the 10-ton bridge it is today to legal loads, we are modifying the substructure. So right now you have a beautiful stone masonry substructure. We do have concrete skirt walls. They added concrete towards the stream. We're going to take those off, so it'll look more like the original stone. And then that graphic to the right is a side view. We're basically we're going to eliminate the bearing there now where the beams sit now. And we're going to have the new beams go further back, and they're going to sit on a substructure that's going to be concealed behind the stone. It'll be micro piles and then a concrete cap that's going to hold the new beams. It'll be elongated, and they'll actually be behind the existing substructure. So again, a layperson, all that's going to be concealed because it's all going to be within the walls that are there today. You won't see it, but you'll have a brand new substructure holding up the bridge, brand new superstructure with the steel. And then everything will look like it does today, other than the raised stone wall and the approach guide rail. So we really wanted to present it to the township tonight for a couple of reasons, because we haven't been here in a few years and we hope to be in construction in 2025. And then there were a couple of things that the township had asked of us a few years ago. One of them was to extend the roadway approach work. And we are putting that work into it was going to be at the township's call. So I'm not sure if anybody remembers that or was a part of that conversation. But we're putting that into our contract, and we really find out if the township still wants to do that work and extend the roadway approach work, which would be an overlay to continue the improvement there. In addition, I think the township was considering a traffic light on the bridge. So they had asked us to put conduit on the bridge, and the county's going to do that as well. So I'm not sure if there's a traffic signal still in the works with the township or where that stands. So I just wanted to try to bring those topics up. We're going to keep going forward. We're going to build the bridge. But if there's more coordination to do with the township, we definitely would like to work with you on that. So, any questions?
I
have a question, but go ahead first.
What's the expected life of the bridge once it's completed? Because you're talking about a lot of great things here, and you're talking about the new steel girders. I'm hoping they're coated or something like that to handle the weather. So
They'll be painted. Yeah.
they'll be painted.
Yeah. The steel that was used in 1980, 78 actually, was weathering steel, which is a type of steel that they thought at the time you didn't have to paint and it would slowly deteriorate, and that it would have a corrosive coating that would actually protect it. Unfortunately, when you put it over a stream like French Creek and you have, the flooding and such, and then we had the fire that I think compromised it as well, that deteriorated so much quicker. But they'll be painted, which is good and bad. That'll have a maintenance issue, in about 10, 15 years.
That's my
it'll need to
next
be painted
question.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long do you think it'll last, if you an estimate?
When we design bridges, essentially it's a new bridge. You have a new substructure and a new superstructure, and we design nowadays for 50 years.
Oh.
Having said that, you're gonna have to paint
Mhm.
those beams probably 10 to 15 years out. Because we're building that new substructure behind the existing stone masonry, we're still gonna point that. We might have some localized failures. Sometimes bulges happen there. So as long as we maintain it, we should get a 50-year life. And then the eki, which is the African hardwood, that's the covered part now, at least we have the fire retardant. It shouldn't burn down. We shouldn't have that issue. The cedar shake roof, you should be able to get a pretty good life out of that as well. So
The cost of maintenance, is that incurred by us or is that by Chester County?
no, the bridge is owned by the county.
County.
So the county actually has a 4-person maintenance crew that they're doing maintenance on that bridge all the time. One of the biggest problems we have on the bridge is overheight vehicles. A lot of times a vehicle will try to go through, is too tall and hits the portal, the end piece of the bridge. And our guys are out there a lot replacing siding or replacing trim, knee braces, things like that. But the county would do the maintenance.
Okay.
Sam, I think the last time you were here, we talked about lighting of some sort on that bridge.
Mhm.
Where are we with regards to that?
Well, that's part of the reason I think for the conduit. I don't believe there's anything in the county's proposal. But there's conduit there to put it in if it's so desired. Yeah.
And I think we were going to do that on some type of, it would run on some type of clock.
Right.
I don't know if it was an atomic clock or what that was.
That was a conversation, but we really, I haven't really much heard from, the township as far as where we're going with it. That's kind of why we're here, to see if there's anything like that that we still need to coordinate, because we are pretty much at the final, part of the bridge design.
Planning stage.
So what do we need to add to that?
Do we know what our share in participating in that would be?
Should be nothing, correct?
Well,
The only share you would have,
Right.
it would be nothing for the conduits there, but if you want to extend the roadway approaches beyond our required limits, because you want to do an overlay. And that was something that at the time the township said we were interested in doing. Can we do it at our cost? So we're willing to have our contractor do it. And then the township would pay for that just because of the economy at scale. You probably have a relatively good price.
Is that a county road?
No,
It's not, it's a township road.
yeah, the county does not own any roads. We only own the bridge.
Yeah.
We will, the work that we're doing, we will improve the approaches within the limits of our work. So I forget the distance, but we are going to extend roadway improvements out from the bridge. But I think at the time when we talked to the township before, you wanted to extend it potentially further to the intersection. And we said we could put that in the bid, and then we could get a bid and then present it to you. And if you like the price, have the contractor do it, kind of an alternate item. And if you like the price, then the township could agree to do it.
I'm gonna apologize right up front before I ask this question, but could you provide us what the specifications were from the previous Board of Supervisors? Because I don't know if we have it or if we could be able to find it, but if you do have those specifications from the previous board, we'd like to take a look at those.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know there was some correspondence, a letter or email or something that documented what was discussed. I know we've written a letter to the township, so I can definitely resurrect that and send it to you.
It's 3 years
Sure.
ago. Yeah, it's about.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if you could go back to the slide that shows the current condition of the steel beams.
This one or the other one?
The one, those, and then as well as the previous one.
Mhm.
Is that safe for vehicles to drive on?
Yes,
Given
we
that
wouldn't have it
code,
open if
given
it
that-
wasn't. It's safe for
Okay.
10-ton vehicles. Now, if you're a 15-ton vehicle or 20-ton vehicle, no, you shouldn't be on it. But even at that, when engineers do analyses on these structures, we actually, the picture that you saw with the person with the calipers trying to measure the steel, we actually take the amount of section loss, so whatever's rusted away, and we measure that steel, and they'll chip at that until they can get down to good steel, and we'll take that measurement. And if it was supposed to be a 1/2 inch, but now it's a 1/4 inch, we'll reanalyze it at a 1/4 inch, and that's why you have a 10-ton bridge. And I forget what it was in the past, but it's gone down. We've been progressively reducing the posting because of the deterioration. But if you don't follow the weight restriction, then no, it's not safe. And that's a big problem these days. We have a lot of bridges. Again, this has a height restriction, so a lot of trucks can't travel across it anyway. There's so many bridges out there that have a weight restriction, and very, very heavy trucks are not watching the weight restrictions, and that is very dangerous.
I've got a question. You mentioned a little while ago that there's some talk at one point in time about putting a traffic light on just before the bridge. I trust that means there'll be a light on both, if we do this, both on the East Vincent side and the West Vincent side of the bridge. Is that correct?
The idea of the traffic light, I believe, would stop traffic on either side of the bridge to allow it's a one-lane bridge.
Yeah.
Right. You can only have one lane at one. So right now they yield, and it's just a, gentleman's courtesy. It's like a. Absolutely. Correct. The township owns the roadway. Traffic control is the responsibility of the township because it's your roadway. The bridge is there. It'll carry the traffic.
Right, but my point though is that if there's going to be a traffic signal, there's going to have to be one on both sides of the bridge.
Correct.
So we're looking at shared expense between East Vincent and West Vincent townships.
No, I believe the whole thing is in East Vincent.
What is that right? We crossed the bridge. We crossed French Creek. I think you're going to West Vincent Township.
Are you talking about the Sheeter Hollow Bridge?
You know, that's an excellent question, Bob. We're talking about the bridge on West Seven Stars, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I cross it every week. That's, you go past Kimberton, Kimberton Waldorf School, get to the bridge, when you cross over French Creek, I'm pretty sure that's West Vincent, isn't it?
The answer is no.
Yep.
It's all East Vincent.
Yeah, Chiefs is just saying it's all East Vincent. Historical. Commission, Yeah.
All right, I stand corrected. Thank you.
But at the time, and I don't know if this ever took off, and I'm not sure if you're even the same engineer that we were talking to back then. I don't think HRG, I think it was Panoni. But Panoni was going to design the traffic signal, and that's where the town, we left it thinking that the township was gonna come back to us with a traffic signal design. But I don't know what happened. So I don't think anything's been handed off to HRG, I guess.
No,
So, but I can get you the letter.
please.
And it was, to me, my understanding was it was gonna be a parallel, you guys were, the township was, their engineer was gonna design the traffic signal. County was gonna design the bridge, and then we try to run the projects, at the same time so that we wouldn't close the road, at 2 different times. So, but the control of the roadway and the traffic on the roadway is the township's responsibility.
Yeah, if I could just add something on the light, and maybe Chief Williams might be able to back me up on this, but in the past, especially during rush hour, there are times when people are going across there and then someone else just drives up and they're angry because too many people are across, and the police have been notified. And Chief, have you ever had that situation happen with that bridge where you had to get notified because there's a standoff happening there? Yes, yeah. It happened to me once myself, so the guy moved out of the way, but it got tense. So I could sort of understand having the traffic light.
Well, and the county was just involved with a project, it's a county bridge on Lloyd Avenue, so I believe it's East Town, I'm not sure the township. But that township put a traffic light on either side of the bridge, and it's been very effective. Because either you go or you don't go, or 5 cars go, and then, so you get to
Right.
control that, and it does get, especially during rush hour when it gets tense and there's a lot of
does.
cars, and then I know there's a lot of pedestrians also at that bridge, so
Right.
definitely something to consider.
There is one more thing. I know that there was some concern about kids and safety with the bridge before, because I think we had a loss of life several years ago where there was kids up in the rafters part of the bridge. Is there going to be anything as far as safety to prevent something like that from reoccurring again?
I wasn't aware of a loss of life. I have known that kids have knocked out the siding and jumped, out the side into the swimming hole with the deep hole in the creek right there. There's not going to really be anything more, because anything we do would further restrict the opening, which then further restricts traffic. So nothing other than it'll be put together and much more solid. I don't think they'll be able to kick things out as easily, but there's nothing to really restrict them from climbing if they choose to do it.
They were climbing. This is what happened before. I don't know if Chief Williams remembers this. This is years ago, but they were climbing up there. They were horsing around, and then one of them fell right before as a car was coming across. And I believe the child was killed. Okay, wasn't serious injury then. Okay. Mhm. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, does anyone else have any other questions? Thank you very much for your presentation.
Certainly.
Great presentation. Thank you.
Well, I will forward the letter and the correspondence that we have had formally with the township, and you guys can tell us where we go from there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to move to item C on the agenda. Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you very much. On item C on the agenda is a resolution for approving the general fee schedule. What I will do is I will go through the motion and I'll ask for a second, and then we'll have a discussion. I move that East Vincent Township Board of Supervisors approve resolution 2024-18 approving the general fee schedule.
I'll second it.
Okay. So, Bob, what I would like you to do is I know that you went through here and we've talked about this before about, I know you were working on this, and there's 2 sections on here, one where the revisions are previously and the new ones. Could you just explain the overall process of why you were working on this and why some of these changes need to happen?
Sure. This was something that I looked at when I first started about a year ago. And since then, Cindy, our BCO, who's in the audience, and Tom, who's our consultant, we started looking at the fees.
Mhm.
And it was clear that the township was not covering its own expenses.
Right.
We are actually subsidizing either developers or builders with this. So what we wanted to do, and what we are allowed to do under state code, is to cover the expense of the operation of the department.
Right.
They worked extensively, have actually worked on this for, I'm going to guess, 10 months, 9 months, going through this process to go through and evaluate what's fair, what's reasonable,
Mhm.
and what we can anticipate. So this brings us up now to where our hope is to cover our expenses, and we're not subsidizing other folks through
Right.
this. And Cindy, I'm not sure if you had anything to add, or Tom, you'd like to add anything to this?
Cindy Shank, building code official. Yeah, we spent a lot of time going through this, looking at the numbers, looking at other townships, and our fees were low. And Bob pointed that out to us immediately when he got here. We do have to make sure we're covering our expenses. I just want to say, as a resident in my township, if my neighbor's putting a deck on, their fees that they're paying should cover our costs for reviewing their plans, inspecting that deck, anything to do with that project, they should be responsible for, not the neighbors, so we have to make sure that we're meeting those costs.
And the one thing I noticed in there too is there's a lot of fees in there that have been changed that you wouldn't think it would be necessarily applicable to the normal homeowner. It more swings towards developers like conditional use. I saw you had in there and changes to that. So would you characterize some of this as leaning more towards covering a lot of our costs for developers who are coming in?
Bill could probably speak more to the developer portion. I handled more of the building and zoning permits. But I will say for the commercial side, I know in processing permits and receiving payments, our current fee schedule is inadequate. So on a commercial side, I know that's separate from the developer. Bill, I don't know if you want to add anything to that. He handles all those costs.
Okay.
And while Bill's coming up, but just to also say, we cannot make a profit. This is not to make a profit.
Exactly.
It
Right.
cannot do that.
Right.
It's to cover the expense of the department.
Right.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to it is on the commercial development or even the larger home projects that may be annexations or different, they would involve legal review. They might involve engineering review, and those costs, as you know, have gone up quite,
Right.
significantly in the last couple of years.
Mhm.
So that's one of the reasons we did a bigger jump on those, because we just haven't been meeting our end of the costs on what it's costing to do those projects.
Okay. Are there any other questions? I don't have any other questions. Okay. All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, item D on the business agenda. And I'm gonna go forward with the motion. I'll ask for a second and then we'll do that for all the rest of these two. We'll have a discussion. I move that East Vincent Township Board of Supervisors approve the proposal from Kerrigan Geo for Kerrigan Municipal Information System CMIS for a one-time fee of $28,150 and associated costs included within. Okay, so do I have a second?
I'll second.
Cindy, you might. I really was looking forward to talking to you about this one, so.
Right, so, okay, Cindy, go ahead, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What I'd like to, could you just tell me what your involvement with this particular proposal was? And, what do you think that, what are the main things that this software is going to do that we don't have right now?
Sure, absolutely. This is, well, it came about, a few local townships currently use them. Norristown, Limerick. It was our inspector, Tom, has worked for a township in the past that used it. We have been waiting on a software from our inspection company, PMCA. The software that we currently use is across the board finance. It's not I would not characterize it as a permit software. It doesn't work for our permit department. It's a record keeping system, that's great. So. So we were looking at, obviously, we're a small team. We have a lot of different processes and the permits, land development, finance, everything. All of our processes at this point are basically manual. Right. So I know we have talked
We
about
talked
city
about it,
share
right.
before. So when I heard about this software, we had a presentation. Tim, the creator and owner, is here tonight to answer any questions if you have any. It was like, this is what you would think of when you think of permit software. And I think one of the biggest benefits of it is that it doesn't just benefit myself and Tom as the inspector in the codes department. It benefits Haley as the zoning officer. It has a land development portion. So right now, everything for our land development is manual. It's on a whiteboard. We have all of our hard copies. This would be everything at the click of a button. You search an address or a project, everything's listed there. Statuses of agreements, documents. There's a portion for our public works department. Jason can pull up our entire sewer line map. Whereas right now he has to come in and search through the paper maps. So.
That was one of the things I wanted to ask is, as you went through and did this evaluation, I guess scanned documents can be added to this software.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that will be part of the process.
Okay. And we can get those, any type of scanned documents open, I guess, as far as what we can put in there.
Say that again.
Is there any limitations on scanned document size, any type?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Okay.
No.
All PDF. How many users will be able to access this system? There's no limitation. Oh, boy, we're all going to get access to that then.
Well, you could actually. Yeah, I mean, if you needed to look at something, you could have access. Our engineers could have access. So we, JJ and I do a lot of back and forth with plan reviews, and I have to track who has what and when and where. And they can log in and everything can just be visible to everybody. Like transparency is huge. Everyone can look at a project, see where it's at. Residents can call and say, where's my permit? I can just click right there, see who has it. It's just streamlined and potentially more efficient.
Yeah, I saw all the things here. Now, I did see it on the yearly maintenance. I didn't see a number there. Is that something we're still evaluating?
Tim, I don't know if you can answer that.
It was, okay. I didn't, maybe you could tell me, what is it? $5,100 a year, okay.
I'm sorry, how much?
5,100.
And that provides for all the latest updates and that to keep us current with the software, correct?
Now this, I saw that it's hosted, so this is cloud-based? It is, okay. And if we want to put users on there and only allow them to have view access, is that possible? That's great. That's a great answer. Because we've been talking about software practices and safety here and not allowing certain people to have access to, not to change things. We want certain people to do that, but not, if we give this out to 10 people to do a review, view in there, I just want to make sure it's read only so that, okay, that's a key one. Do you guys have any other questions about this? I mean, it's the only other thing I was just thinking about is, I know we have this fee, now you said 5,100, and this is going to keep us up to date. How, and you mentioned that a lot of other townships are using, is this a software that is considered to be highly rated? I mean, I know you're going to say it is, but I just was wondering if we've done any of that, have we internally done any evaluation on it?
Sure, if you want to.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Maybe you could tell me how you compare to your competitors.
The difference between us and my competitors is we modify the system according to how you operate. So you
Okay.
don't get their software and you have to work within the confines of them. So what has happened is I started this product back in 1998 and we've worked with many municipalities. So people like her and you and the townships told us what they wanted in the system and that's how we built it. So it's not anything that I came up with. And if, I don't know if you have that proposal there.
I have it in front of me, yeah.
Right, so we do have an integrated document management system and retention, so you can scan anything you want, link it to the property record and have all that there. We have the mapping interface, so you have a complete map, so when you pull up the property record, you can see where it is in the township and everything. We have the land development module, a planning module, which is for sewers, the zoning module, which is like conditional use, zoning hearing board cases, anything with zoning. Service requests, so if somebody calls in and complains about the bamboo, you can put that into the system and track the whole process of how it's being handled. Permitting obviously is permitting, doing your inspections, taking pictures of the inspections, issuing your certificates of occupancy and so forth. Violations or property maintenance. So with the bamboo thing, you could send that particular person a violation notice right there.
Okay.
We do have a rentals module and a business module included with this too, to manage both those things.
Okay.
So my township's local, I'm in West Pottsgrove, Norristown, Limerick, Upper Providence, and Skippack, right, all right here in Norristown.
This is something I always ask when I talk about cloud-based systems, our data. So the data is our data.
Yep.
How easy is it for us to access it?
Well, you're accessing it through the interface that I have.
Yeah.
But at any given time, you need the data, I just put it on, we just copy it off the server and give you a copy.
So there's no way for us to go and access it like through an ODBC connection,
No.
CSV, nothing
No.
like that. We have to go directly
You have
to
to
you
go
each
through
time.
this. Yep.
Okay.
So that way nobody can get in behind the scenes and try to manipulate the databases.
Okay.
All right, Tim, I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
The item for importing existing data into the system to be determined, $110 per hour. Is can our staff import the data on their own, or do we need your company to do that?
That's what specifically about that is if they have listed like spreadsheets of existing permits and stuff like that, I'll just put that stuff included in the cost of getting the system set up. What I'm talking about for that is, let's say you scan a whole bunch of documents and they're sitting on your server and they're in by address. I can copy all that stuff off, but then I got to match up addresses with the property records and link all that. Then there's an additional cost for something like that. So it depends on the data set that you want to import.
Okay. GIS mapping hourly rate. $85 per hour. GIS mapping would be what for the uninitiated like myself?
If let's say we have, we're going to get all the mapping data from the county, and if there's a layer of data that the county doesn't have that you want, and you have to have us draw it up, I have my GIS technician draw it up, and it costs $85 an hour for his time.
Okay, finally, custom GIS programming of the CMIS system, $110 per hour. What is the expected number of hours that would be required for this?
Oh, well, that is for things, let's say you come down a year into the system or 6 months into the system and say, Tim, I want to be able to do these things. And I want to add this module or add this functionality into the system. We'll give you a quote for that at that rate, and then you can decide whether to move forward on it.
All right, okay, I see. That's just adding, right.
Extra things.
Okay, so I should have asked this question from the beginning. Is this generally an off-the-shelf software system that can be used by any township, or is what we're getting going to be tailored to our specific needs?
I have an out of the box starting point, and it's what everybody's using. And then what we'll do is, depending on if there's any need for any customization, we can do it at that point or anytime in the future.
All right, so this the $28,000 price is your out of the box system, off the shelf system.
Right.
Bob and Cindy, have we evaluated whether we need more than what the off-the-shelf system gives us?
I think as of right now, this will do us. This will handle it, but again, this will evolve because as Cindy was so politically correct at starting this out, our system probably is from the 1960s. It's manual. It's not functional. And especially given the level of staff, This really moves us now into this century and actually makes it more efficient to be able to run reports, put data in there, especially, as you know, Mark, and what we've seen with some of these developments. There's ability to put files together with photographs so that this way, 20 years from now, you can go back to that and see what was documented, the pictures and that. So you have all this evidence stored in there, which really makes this a very efficient system, but also too, Haley's got the ability to use this, not only Cindy, a consultant, Bill, Jason, and it really is something that, you know, we've been looking for of how this can now make us work smarter and not just spending hours and hours and hours of manually paper doing this. And they all did a fantastic job of working together as a group, as a staff to come up with something that is going to work for everyone.
Okay, and did we look at other options besides this particular company?
No, no, we did not. We looked at PMCA and what they have to offer as they're our current inspection company. We're still waiting for that to roll out. I believe it's still under development with them. But that program or software would only benefit myself and Tom, the inspector.
And
It
I think
doesn't touch anybody else.
and I think they found out by checking with other communities, what's the latest trend, what function, what works at our size community and the development that's taking place to be able to track this. But one of the big points is based on our fee schedule, our hope is that we will recoup this cost through the fee schedule as well.
Right, so we didn't go out and look at other possible vendors, is what I'm asking. And I guess the answer is no, we didn't.
And I guess we didn't, but through my experience, we would be looking at a number that would be somewhere between $500,000 and $2 million to be able to put a software system together at what we're looking for. And I think as we continue to grow and modules that can be handled, this is, I think, a very cost-effective way to do this. And this is something that I think the board will evaluate, you know, in a year and come back and say, here's the changes of what we've done. Here's how more efficient that we've become instead of hiring more people.
Oh, no, believe me, I get that, Bob, and
Sure.
we're all from Creeks, for bringing the staff up to the 21st century. That's a no-brainer.
Those are good questions, though.
So, Cindy, did you speak to anybody from Skippack Township?
Actually, Bill spoke with someone from Limerick Township. Tom, did you want to say something?
Yeah.
I'll bring Tom up here. He's worked with the system or software before.
I've worked for multiple townships. I've used this system probably for past 20 years. It's been around for a long time. It's very user-friendly. Number one, you hit the address, you pull up everything on that address comes up. It's already put in there. Documents are in place, all the fee schedules, everything that's ever happened in this. You want to send out a letter to the township, pull up that, you click a button. It's a weed ordinance or cars or anything. It's all very simple. I just recently was working with New Hanover Township. They just spent $200,000 on the new software. It's not uncommon to hear that. I go back all the way to City of Reading. They were at $500,000 for their software. So it depends. For something of our size, this is very effective and simple. And the key word is simple. So we're not sitting there bringing somebody to update it all the time. Tim has always been very responsive. If we need to have something added, tweaked, he just makes that change and it's done. Usually in a day or two, we can get them to change something to fit our needs.
Yeah, and this is what I've been waiting to ask, is I like what everyone is saying here, but based on what our current needs are, does this satisfy what we need? This, or are we going to be asking for a lot of tweaks? Because, you know, I'm
No,
looking at the,
this is going to well exceed everything that you're doing now.
okay,
Yeah,
Okay.
I've used the software at the last township I was at, and it was very current.
right, okay. Thank you, and thank you all very much.
I do have a question.
Oh, sorry,
Sorry, just was this budgeted for? Is this in our budget for that?
No,
department?
this was not.
No.
So when would this go into effect? Do we have to approve this in the upcoming budget, or is this an interim ask?
I think this is one that would, because of a number of positions that we have not filled, and there are some cost savings that are here. This would actually apply to those cost savings. But our hope is that with the new fee schedule, that we will start to recoup a lot of these expenses.
So you're suggesting too that we could make sure our headcount stays down because of the software?
Absolutely.
I'd like to hear that. So,
We're still gonna need a couple, but it dramatically makes an impact,
okay,
and it makes our staff much more efficient.
okay. Any other, do you have a question? You come up here, please. If you give your name and address.
Gary Meadows, 151 Barton Drive.
Mhm.
Does the cost of this include, who does the data input? Who imports all of it?
That's a good question to ask, right? Yeah, right. So
I mean, is that included in 28? And is there any training that goes along so that your employees can put it in? I
That's
just
all
say
part of
it
the
'cause I
value, yep.
know
Mhm.
people that it can be a nightmare.
Here,
The way the system is set up is we get all the assessment data from the county. So we'll get what they call the GIS with all the mapping and all the parcel data and all the addresses. I take all that data and I put it into the system. I put your fee schedule in. I put any other like spreadsheets, if you have, like we were talking earlier, if you have spreadsheets of zoning hearing board cases or spreadsheets of permits, I will add all that stuff in there. So the initial seeding of the product is by the assessment data from the county. Now, entering in new permits and entering in all the new information, that's the users, and training is part of it. I know it's not a line item on here, but it's included in the price. So, yep.
So if we were, just one more, you know,
That's a
because I
good
was
question.
thinking about
Thank you.
asking this before.
Good point.
I see your rates here, but I would think a lot of your work, especially for mapping work, is related to your current keys, you know, your and then foreign keys that you're trying to link to. Would that be correct? You have key fields in your data.
Oh,
that
right,
You have to
yes.
match up to, and then you have foreign keys that you're trying to link to.
Right.
Is that what a lot of this
I
is?
take care of all that.
You take care of all, so this
Yeah.
is not part of the hourly rates here that.
No, the hourly rates that you're seeing there is if you ask us to do something beyond a map, like a GIS layer that's not there. So if you didn't have your sewer lines mapped out and you contracted us to do it, it would be at $85 an hour.
Okay.
And if you wanted to do some additional programming beyond what the product is out of the box, it's $110 an hour.
Got it. Okay.
So normally for everything else, the number you need to look at is the one-time fee and then the support fee. And the other ones are only if you contract for more work. And most of my clients don't usually do that because we get all the data from the county or the GIS data is already there and we just put it, drop it into the system.
all right, Tim, I don't see training specifically included in the.
That's right.
price.
I didn't make it a line item, but it is included in there.
All right, would you please revise this to include timing? So I'm just looking for detail.
Yep, not a problem. We'll include the training in there.
All right.
Yep.
Good.
Oh, there is one other thing too, just a minor thing. You have, there's point J, the date's wrong.
Yeah, I noticed that too yesterday when I was
That's
looking
all.
it over before I came over.
Yeah, it's okay. It's a minor thing.
Yeah.
All right. There's a hand up.
Stay there for a moment, please.
Good evening. It's Chris McNeil from 108 Nottingham Drive. The Open Space Committee worked with Haley and Chester County to put together natural resource GIS data layers that is already clickable, and Haley has the address. Are those natural resource layers, including agricultural soils, hydric soils, are they all going to be included in this mapping? When you refer to GIS?
Yes, anything that the county has that we can get from the county, we will put into the system.
Okay, so we tailored information and Haley helped coordinate it with the county. She has the link for all that natural resource data. The one data piece that we were never able to get a hold of, I believe, unless Haley, you did, is the soil mapping.
Right, and there's different sources for the soil mapping. So there's a Penn State data center where you can download all the soils for the entire state of Pennsylvania. So
Right.
we have access to all that. So anything that has already been generated and is a GIS layer, we have the resources of where to pull all this stuff and put it into the mapping system.
I
So-
think that would be fantastic. I'm very impressed with the fact that the township is moving forward on this more global level. Congratulations, it's great. I just wanted to make sure from people who are working on committee levels and also when we get into a developer study, we want to know where the hydric soils are. We want to be able to see it for ourselves, not rely on the developer's information.
Yeah, and Christine, I would say that, and this would be for everybody who would be on a committee. Since we can have read-only accounts, this should be something that we could possibly set up so that people in our other,
And this is
they
not,
have access to it.
right, and just so you know, this is not for public use. This is
No,
for
I
internal use
understand.
at the township.
I was going to give it to everybody in the township, but I decided not to do that. But you make a great point there, but, okay, so, yes. I don't have any other questions. Does anyone else have any other questions? Oh. You can come up here. Yeah, Bill Films, I know.
Bill Fields, Stony Run Road. Yeah, I just had a question from the perspective of, it sounds like a small business. If something were to happen to you, Tim, you look like a healthy guy, but if something were to happen to you, what happens to your company or what happens to the software? What's the liability of the township relative to?
Right. I get that question all the time.
Okay.
Yes, I am a small business. I have 2 employees, and then I also have, with today's technology, I have contracted out to where I have a set of programmers that handle a lot of the programming. So even if something happened to me today and I was incapacitated for the next 6 months, the system would stay up and running forever on the servers. If I sell the company, then it's going to go on to the next one, but that's, who knows what's going to happen there. And I do have a plan that for retirement, another 15, 20 years down the line, that we have a succession plan in place.
Second question, from a data security perspective, Craig used the comment of being on the cloud. Or is your data truly like AWS on the cloud? It could be network on the cloud, or is it local server on the ground in a basement?
No. Our servers are located in a company called TierPoint over in Lower Providence Township, and it is a secure location. They have a secure building, and our servers sit in there on the internet with dual connection backups. And then I use a company called Ridge Support for my IT company, and we have specific software in place and firewalls in place to keep the data safe. The one thing I will say about all the data in the system, there's nothing in the system that is not open to the public. So all we're doing is getting the county data, which is name and addresses, which is all public. And then all the information in there, obviously, is the townships, but it could potentially become all public. So there's always the probability of being hacked, because last week Microsoft got hacked and the airlines got hacked and everything got brought down.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about.
In the big scheme of things, I'm small potatoes compared to that.
Right, so you're not keeping your data encrypted on.
It's not encrypted, but it is behind firewalls. We're using SQL databases, so it's not
Okay.
encrypted.
Okay, no, fair enough. Thank you.
But we are using.
Good
Tim,
question.
before you leave,
Good
Tim,
question.
one more question.
Yeah.
Are there any limitations on storage?
No, not right now, because we control the server and we have enough storage. One of my townships, Limerick, they went hog wild and scanned everything at really high resolution. So, and we still have enough space for everything. So we got I don't know, maybe 30,000 documents in the system already. And we still have plenty of space to go. And it would take a long time to fill up all the hard drives.
Maybe we should add that as a line item to say we'll get unlimited storage for a certain period of time.
Only for my system though, not.
Yes, I know. Yes.
I didn't introduce myself last time. Bob Palmer, Old Schuylkill Road. I don't mean to be wonky. So since you already said it's not encrypted data, I can assume it's not GDPR. That's the standard that almost all information security providers need to have.
Well, it's a web-based system, so we got SSL certificates on it, and it's encrypted that. Beyond that,
No encryption at
no
rest.
encryption of data.
You mentioned that you're on a single system. It doesn't sound like you have geo redundancy. Is that right?
No, we do have to redundant.
Where? So one's in East Providence and
Well,
where's the
they
second one?
have facilities also.
So is the system designed as single or multi-tenant?
Um,
In other words, does East Vincent get their own hardware?
no, it's.
So it's
all one
multi-tenant.
server, it's shared. If they want to have their own VM, we can have a separate VM.
I guess.
So, Bob, picking up from that point, what does it mean to, what does that mean to the uninitiated?
Primarily data security, things like user codes, access, everybody encrypts their data at rest. Geo redundancy, you should understand what your geo redundancy is. Having one here and having one at my house wouldn't do you any good if there was an earthquake because we're in the same zone. Geo redundancy is usually like Amazon does, East Coast, West Coast, multiples in those instances, that kind of stuff.
Your point, all of it. So they're here, Chicago, Washington.
Okay. I get the $28,000 base. What I'm not understanding is the $5,100 maintenance. That almost sounds like a subscription fee. So let's be clear about support. When you say support.
I would have to agree with him. There is usually something, I mean, I have to sign these agreements too, but you're good to ask for it, but I'm just saying it is very common. Yeah.
So hang on, let me.
I know.
finish.
Okay, go ahead.
So when you say support, what does that mean? 724?
Support to them is if there's a critical issue that they are unable to do the job and they call me up or email me, I will take care of it within the same day.
Okay.
If it's a system where I just need to like change a heading or change something that's not mission critical, it might take a bit. But I'm available 24/7.
What is your uptime guarantee?
Oh, according to your point, it's 9 bucks.
So back to the subscription versus maintenance. So most software vendors, if there's a bug in their system, they fix it for free. Maintenance, that would typically be a maintenance item. So it sounds like if you have to pay $5,100 each year, right, for maintenance. And does that include new feature requests? Well, I mean, what I don't understand is what that $5,100 covers, except your support contract.
I can't hear him, Craig.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard to hear if you could, yeah.
It's, now I forget, lost my train of thought. Sorry. It's for the support, it's for the software, and it's for future updates.
What I'd like to say too is we're getting into more of the technical aspects, like especially when you asked about GBT.
I'm just asking.
I know. Why don't we do this is, why don't we, if anybody wants to submit some questions, we'll collect them. And because you got good points, I understand what you're heading toward, but we can submit them to the vendor here and then have them respond.
Okay, the only
But I
thing,
can tell you, you have some good questions.
the only thing I would recommend is that when you get your contract and you're close to finalization, just be sure of what your support items are.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Bob.
Are there any other questions? Okay. All right, so,
Craig,
I want to say this, go ahead, Mark.
we're gonna have to, based upon what you said a few moments ago,
Yeah.
the motion should be amended.
Right.
So go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to amend this to say, based on satisfactory responses to the questions that we will provide to the vendor here. And then if we receive the satisfactory responses to our questions that we're going to provide, then what I would say is upon those conditions, then that would be contingent on the approval here. So is that, I don't know if that sounds legally right here, but
Yeah, if you made a motion and then you need a second with those amendments.
so I'm going to amend the motion. I'm going to move that East Vincent Township Board of Supervisors approve the proposal from Kerrigan GEO for Kerrigan Municipal Information Systems for a one-time fee of $28,150 and associate costs within and including satisfactory responses to the questions that we.
No,
No,
subject to.
subject.
receiving.
Okay. So I'll take what you have just said and add that to here. And do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in approval or
All in favor?
all in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Aye. Thank you all. Thank you all for that. We're going to the next one here on ARPA funds. I know this one's going to be a good one to talk about. So we have two items here. We'll talk about them individually, but I sort of think they are related. So on the ARPA funds, this is a motion here to move forward here. I'm just going to explain the motion before I make it, to approve certain portions that relate to the open ARPA funds that we have available. Currently, I just saw the list. It says 699,000. I think previously was 690,000. Maybe that number has revised or been interest. Okay. So I move that we're going to have a discussion on this first one here. I move that East Vincent Township Board of Supervisors approve the expenditure for premium pay for township staff with the use of ARPA funds in the manner of 45,000. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, so now let's discuss it. So. Oh, go ahead. Well, before we have any questions from the audience, let's talk.
My question is what's premium pay?
Yes, and what year are we talking about?
Premium pay is one of the top priorities of ARPA funds, to spend money for premium pay, which is basically recognizing employees who work through COVID during that time period and continue to do the job. So we had looked at use of these funds, which again is a top priority in the ARPA fund, how it was established. And the 45,000 not only recognizes the staff, but also it moves the staff salaries from the bottom of a lot of the comparisons we've done up to somewhere in the middle as a competitive nature to be able to keep and retain staff. The numbers have been low. I worry about staff knowing that you can go to another community and make a significant more money, but they are committed and dedicated to the township, put an extraordinary amount of time. And I think based on 9 individuals who this would go towards, does not include the township manager, but it includes staff. It's basically about $5,000 per person.
All right, so Bob, this is not simply for premium time already spent. This is for increasing salaries as well.
That's correct. That's correct. This is one item of the ARPA fund. So this is one line item of that at 45,000 to be spent. On these funds.
One thing I'd like to ask is, we haven't really gotten to the point where I know we've looked at projections, from a budgeting standpoint, but we really haven't gotten to the point where we've approved any types of increases. So I'm wondering if this is a little bit like jumping the gun a little bit.
It really isn't. The board has had this information for a number of months. It's spoken about this. Again, I think this is basically recognizing the staff that you have here. Given that they came to work every day through COVID, which still exists today. And again, this brings us from the lower end of the scale throughout the county and surrounding counties to a competitive level, which is somewhere around the middle, which for us to get somebody, we are going to pay a significant amount of money to replace positions of the staff that we have right now. That's just the nature of what's taking place. throughout all the communities in this area. So not only will we during the budget process talk about some additional staff, but we have also demonstrated cost savings by not filling positions, and we're anticipating not filling positions next year.
So this
we had
applies,
this-
go ahead.
All right, we had we had something like this on one of our executive session agenda items. I'm not sure if the three of us ever talked about any kind of great detail. My suggestion is, and what I'm going to motion now, is that we table the motion with the understanding that this will be taken up at the upcoming executive session on August 28th, and that we revisit the motion at the next board meeting in September.
I think it's August 26th. Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's August 26th.
26. What did I say?
August 28th.
If I said August 26th. Sorry.
Okay.
So so my motion is a table, and that right now we need to talk about that one before we go any further. Actually, we need a second for that.
I think we would need to.
It's not a motion for that, I don't believe.
Let's
That's a motion. Motion to table is a motion. So that's gonna be it. So is there a second?
So there's a current motion already on the table. You would have to
Yes.
vote on that motion first.
No,
before-
ma'am. No, you can on Robert's Rules of Orders, you can motion to table the motion. My motion is to table this motion.
Withdraw the motion and then withdraw.
Okay. I will withdraw the motion.
Ed, you got to withdraw the second.
You have a second?
That's
Okay.
I withdraw. Okay, good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I just want to add to talk about this a little bit. We did discuss this last month, and I do have this from last month, and the amount, the premium paid, do you mind if I mention here what it was? Okay, so it was 116,000, and now it's going down to 45. That's correct. Are the reasons, what happened from last meeting until we've talked about it now?
Additional cost savings from not filling positions
Not filling
that we
positions.
don't anticipate to fill those two positions
Okay.
that were budgeted.
That memo out there and then it changed to none available.
Correct.
Not here. Okay. That's what it was. Okay, thank you for explaining that. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Why do we don't have any motion. Why?
Well, we're talking about a motion to table, but I cannot, I'll allow because I know it's gonna
Wait
come
until
up
the
again.
motion comes up.
I'll allow it. Go ahead. Just.
Thank you. So while you're in your executive session, I'm not looking for names necessarily of people, but I'd like to understand the tenure of the people that you're going to dole this money out to make sure that in fact they were here during COVID.
What I will say is that's something that we can definitely bring up at another meeting, but since we're gonna table this motion, I don't think we need to talk about that right now, because we really don't know what's gonna happen with this particular line item, but we'll table it, and it's definitely a question that can be addressed later
I
on.
would recommend when you bring it up that you have that information available.
Okay,
All the employees were here during COVID. Just answered for you right now. They were all here. Correct, but I know who's been employed here and for how long it is, and the township manager is not included in this. So I just want to say that I've done the homework. Everybody was here during COVID.
okay, just quick comment. Yes, if you want to come up here quick and again, a lot of these questions can be addressed later, when we're getting deeper into the budget.
Monica Scriver, 102 Valley Creek Lane. I don't think it's enough. I don't think 5,000 is enough, but I trust your calculations. And the gentleman that was on the road, the manager of the road crew, he was here through that. So have you estimated that in for him as well?
Yes, it's the Public Works Department, it's the internal staff here, and one member of the police department, all here during COVID.
I think it's great. I think a bonus and a raise would be well. I'm not holding the money though, but just for my 2 cents.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you.
I'm gonna put a motion to table this item. This is item E on the agenda. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda here is item F. This is this is also in consideration of ARPA funds. This one is, I'll read the motion. I'll put the motion forward and then we'll second it, or hopefully someone will second it and we'll discuss it. I move that East Vincent Board of Supervisors approve the expenditure for Keene Road culvert replacement with the use of ARPA funds in the amount of $216,500. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, let's discuss it. So, yes, please. Yes.
This is an item that this culvert is in very bad condition, near collapse condition. This fits the criteria for the use of ARPA funds, and we are recommending that this culvert be replaced.
Yes. And just so that we're all keeping consistent with what we were discussing previously on the previous proposal, and I know you made a change here, so I do recognize that, but I just want to talk about the total proposed cost, and this is just an estimate, is $585,750. And the comment was a combination of ARPA funds and capital road and traffic improvement funds. Okay, so what this motion is saying here is that the ARPA portion is, which we have more clarification on, is $216,500. And the capital road and traffic improvement funds, we would tap into $369,250 for a
Correct.
total of $585,750.
Correct. And what we're trying to do is, we don't have a lot of money, 699. We're trying to spread that as much as we can to take full advantage of these improvements.
Right, exactly. And we do want to, and just by the way, we do want to spend this money. It's ours, but we have to do this by January. Right.
We have to have it committed by December 31st and has to be complete by December 31st of 25.
Right. Yeah, the actual work, but I think we
Correct.
have to agree to December 31st of
Correct, of this year.
Yes, right.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Bill, so the $369,250, what do we have in there, and do we have it budgeted for this, for capital road and traffic improvements fund?
We have it in both the combination of the two funds.
Okay.
But they're not just separate funds, just so everybody's clear. They're separate accounts in the general fund.
Right.
Unfortunately, we don't have it budgeted for this year. No, we did not.
Okay. What would this do to the fund if we were just, well, I guess let me stop. We're not, I guess the plan right now is not to even, we're only talking about approving it before December. We're not really thinking about doing any work.
What has to be done for this is the design engineering cost to put this together, and then be able to put it out for bid it, and then have the construction. So we are right upon the wall right now to be able to get this done.
There's no possibility for us even doing any work this year anyways.
Engineering,
Unlikely.
perhaps.
Right, except for
The engineering,
evaluation.
initial engineering
Right.
more than
Correct.
likely.
Right.
but other than
So it's, yeah, we're running on the clock. There's
I have a question.
Go ahead.
And this would be, I guess, addressed to you as well, Bill. Thank you. So we're saying 369,250 coming out of capital road and traffic improvement. That's where that would come from for any of the culvert projects. Is that correct?
Ideally, yes. I'm not saying.
So what's the
It has to.
difference? What's the difference if we spend 585,000 on the one culvert out of ARPA funds? We still have, 3 plus more culverts at $500,000 a piece. Where's that money coming from?
That would be a long-term plan that you'd have to.
Well, what this
What
is saying
capital
is
funds are
these are
looking
the
to
top
finance?
3 of the remaining 17 proposed culvert replacement projects, Mauer Road, Hallman Mill Road, and Penhurst Road, at a projected cost of $500,000 a piece. So what's the difference if we just don't all spend it on one? Because all that money's coming out of the capital improvements fund, right? So why are we saying we're going to allocate some of this money from ARPA and the rest out of this, and then we're going to use a little bit of ARPA on this and a little bit of ARPA on that? Why can't we just say we're going to use the ARPA funds on that one? And then whatever is left over, we're going to allocate that to other eligible expenditures.
you could do that. Yes,
That would just
yes,
simplify things.
You could do that. I think we were just trying to get the maximum out of these funds, but you're absolutely correct.
We're gonna spend it all anyway.
Right, and we're gonna have to come up through the budget process, even for the next several years, how we're going to fund 17 culvert replacements. Which is
And
the-
that's coming out of, the-
I'm
the
not
public
sure where,
coffers.
I'm not sure where that's gonna come from.
Yeah.
So,
And just, I'm looking at the list right now. This is the
Mhm.
list we talked about last. month.
correct.
Just about every single one of them on here is about $500,000. And there's a couple that are, one's $1 million, one's 600,000, there's one 750, but pretty much they're all $500,000.
Correct. And it's one of those things that just in my short tenure here is there's been no plan for these. And, you know, talking with Jason and looking at these, I mean, you got a lot of them that are in very bad shape that hopefully we can plan for these.
Yeah.
But, you know, like last year, I believe the cost was 750,000, I think, to do the emergency replacement
Yeah.
on the near collapse.
So my suggestion would be we just, whatever we're gonna spend on Keene Road, if that's the one that's an imminent failure,
Mhm.
that just comes out of ARPA funds. Don't
That could be. It could be.
don't
It's a
divvy
board-
it up a little here, a little there, just do it.
It's a board choice.
Yeah, that would be my
We
suggestion.
would still have some left over though.
Yeah,
Yeah. So we have to divvy that to whatever.
and then that goes to whatever other eligible costs. That could be the staff premium if we discuss that. Or something else that's eligible.
Right, and we can, hopefully we can, we would pick, if Keene Road is as you said, Ed, let's say that's the worst one right now. Let's devote money to that, and that's 500 and what did we say? here?
585.
585. So you're gonna have a certain portion left over, and we would have to then budget. You know, we would say that there's a fund we're gonna use here, or one of these projects, we're gonna use this for the remainder. And then the other stuff we're gonna have to budget for next year, because if we commit to another one for the opera funds, we gotta have it in the budget.
Gentlemen, I think this is another one, Craig, I think this is another one that perhaps we'll discuss more in depth in executive session.
Okay, we can do that.
So I suggest we.
Well, thank you.
Pick it up on August 26th.
Okay, I'm going to withdraw the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I will put a motion here to table this until further date. This is item F on the agenda. Do I have a second for tabling this item on the agenda?
I thought we just did. Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Okay, I don't know if I think we did discuss this one before. I'm gonna go through the motion here and we'll talk about it.
Craig, if you want to hold this one too,
Can we hold this
we
one?
can do that too.
Okay, we can. Okay, so what do you guys think? Do you want to discuss this one? I'm okay with tabling it.
Table it.
Okay.
I'm not. I think we have, well.
I know it's
It's a fait accompli, I guess. I was hoping that we can get moving on, at least having the engineering done.
And well, no, this is not for, I don't believe this one is for the engineering portion. This is just for a
Yeah.
yeah, right. But it's not the engineering.
Up in quotes, exactly. Look, these pumping stations are, we already had a failure at Nottingham.
Right.
Duck Pond has been investigated. It's in the same shape. So it can fail at any point in time. We don't have the luxury of time. We have these things have to be upgraded.
Yeah.
So what they're asking for here is just a motion to approve HRD to put together a proposal.
Correct.
I think there's another. one.
I
I think it might be
actually,
confusing
Who's
too.
paying for it?
maybe Alex, if you want to talk about this, that would
Yeah.
be great.
Yes, please.
So as Mark mentioned, this is somewhat of an emergency situation. Nottingham did fail. Luckily, the township does have a backup Godwin pump, so that was put in, but Worst case scenario is these pumps both fail at the same time, and then the township's in a tough situation. So the HRG was asked to put together this proposal to get CoStar's quotes. What that means is we would work through CoStar's, which is a program through the state, to get a quote to retrofit these pump stations. So that's all this proposal is for, with no construction, really just to get you to that point to say, okay, here's the cost. Here's the contractor that would do the work. We include a line item there to evaluate funding options with the township, which I'll get into with my budget presentation. But certainly I know there's budget concerns with Barton's Meadows especially. So that would all be addressed in this proposal.
Right, and so this is, just to pick up where Alex left off, this is an emergency, so we are not required to go out and obtain competitive bids.
Yeah, either way, CoStars could be used, but it just kind of fast tracks the situation. It also reduces our costs because we do not need to prepare in-depth specifications, drawings. It's really just, listen, here's the drawings, talk to the contractors, and really just fast track the process. Previous drawings, I should say, no drawings on our end.
I understand.
So we really should have a motion on the table so we can talk about all this stuff.
Okay. I move that East Vincent Township, we already did the second on this one already.
No.
We did
No.
it?
No.
Okay, I move that East Vincent Township Board of Supervisors approve the proposal from HRG to obtain quotes for the Nottingham and Duck Pond Pump Station retrofits in an amount not to exceed 19,600. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you. Item G or H. And this is item H on the agenda. I move that the East Vincent Township Board of Supervisors authorize the solicitor to prepare and advertise a public notice for a hearing to authorize the expenditure of $2,052,000. I think I said that right. $252,000 of township open space funds to partially fund the acquisition of a conservation easement with public access over the 126-acre property best known as Camp Innaba. The public hearing will be scheduled to take place at the regularly scheduled September 4th, 2024 Board of Supervisors meeting.
I'll second it. Any questions?
Do we have any questions, any or discussion by the board?
I think the public should be informed that we had the previous board had already pledged that the township would contribute this amount toward this this acquisition.
Yeah, and I remember this one because right. Was it the point that we never went through the public hearing? Was that the issue here with this?
Yes.
That was the issue. Okay, because I remember we did agree to this before you came on
Right.
board.
Right.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're on to item I on the agenda. I move that East Vincent Township Board of Supervisors authorizing HRG to advertise for the Barton Meadow lateral defects repair project. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, so now on the this is the one, I'm sorry, I got a little confused with the two of them here, but this is the one, I think we did discuss this previously, where this is not for the engineering design. I think there's an amount here. I thought there was an amount here. 20,000.
This is for construction.
Is this one's for, oh, there, it's just authorizing bids. Yes,
And
I think
to
that's not,
confirm, the laterals are in the right of way. They belong to the township, correct? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, let's move this along, please.
yeah. Yeah, and the estimated cost for the contract is going to be greater than 25,000. Right. Right. I'll move this. Are there any other comments by the board?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yeah, I like it when I became to do this because I seem to have gotten all of the business stuff. I think one thing, didn't Mark have like one or two? I think I have 25 of them here. I think you guys were planning this.
We knew you could handle it.
Handle it. All right. This is item J on the agenda. I move that East Vincent Township Board of Supervisors approve the proposal from HRG to create Independence Park Improvement Concept Plan in an amount not to exceed $23,185, all inclusive of labor, expense, and consulting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. So now this one, this is where I was getting to. This one is not for engineering design. This is more or less just to complete the conceptual plan, which I believe we did discuss previously in the previous BOS meeting.
Bob,
JJ,
I thought this was for HRG to come up with construction cost estimates for the items on the comprehensive plan.
this is for the conceptual plan. JJ, I'll let you go through.
Conceptual.
Yeah, so this proposal or project assignment is just for updating the concept plan of Independence Park to align with Park and Rec Board, township staff, and public wishes for the park itself. To give some background, as you may be aware, the previous master plan was completed in 2016, and this is now 8 years later. Recreation trends have changed in the past 8 years, especially after the pandemic. So we are now updating the concept plan for the park to align with current recreational standards.
And this will bring us into alignment with DCED to bring them updated to the plan that we should be working off of.
Okay, perhaps I misunderstood. We had a meeting last week, and we learned that among other things that there was a comprehensive plan we hadn't seen. There were some construction cost estimates concerning various aspects of that plan. One of which dealt with the trail that's already been built by volunteers. What I thought we were going to do was to come up with revised construction cost estimates so we can show the powers who be that there's a sum out there that we'd like to transfer from one item that's already been done to other items on the plan.
Sure, I can address that question.
No, hang on, JJ. You weren't at the meeting.
Yes,
So,
I have been informed of that request, and I
okay,
can.
let Bob handle this one, please. If you don't mind. Then I'm not trying to cut you off. Let me hear from Bob first, then I like to hear from you.
What this does is everything we had discussed from the original plan that was sitting with DCED, which I know nobody ever saw compared to the one that Parks Board and other people have been working off of, is to update that plan to what we currently are looking at to bring construction costs updated to where we're at so that we can bring DCED up to here is where we are at. Here's the plan we were working off of. And here's updated costs so that exactly what you talked about, Mark, that we can adjust what needs to be done within that plan and within that scope, because the nature trail that's already been built by members of the Parks Board, that didn't show on there. So we will show a lot of these changes to this plan so that we will now be in compliance with DCED where we can actually move forward. So there's a lot that has to be done. And then also too, to get that conceptual plan that everybody's satisfied with, that now we can start moving forward to, because we are on the clock on that one. Because I believe that has a finish date by December 31 of 25.
Yeah, and maybe I can expand a little bit upon that. HRG and the township, we have been in discussion with, it's DCNR.
DCNR, sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Sorry, wrong.
Just to clear the reference, it's DCNR that we are currently working with through this grant application. And I believe in 2021, that is when the original cost estimate for the grant was submitted to DCNR for approval. And that is in the amount of a little over 800,000. And it was requested by the township for HRG to provide an updated cost estimate for those identified improvements within that original cost estimate.
Right.
That has been provided to the township already. We sent it to Joe and Bob on Tuesday this week. So however the township wants to move forward with that, that is up to you. This project assignment right now is for the larger park build out of Independence Park, updating the entirety of the master site plan to align with, like I said, current recreational standards and township wishes and desires. Speaking to Bob's point about the DCNR grant, the timeline for the grant is it to be fully executed and constructed and closed out by the end of 2025. So we have a pretty short timeline to get all of that wrapped up and completed.
That's not what I heard last week. What I heard last week was we do not have to be 100% finished. So long as we have shovel in the ground and we're working on it by the end of next year, we will be compliant with the grant. We don't have to finish next year. Just at least be.
So the grant language does to be completed by 2025. However, DCNR has suggested that if we are in construction during late 2025, that they would be gracious in extending or providing a grant extension. However,
Okay.
if we go by grant language and not through hearsay from DCNR, it is construction and grant closeout by end of 2025.
I need to read into the verbal record here, Mark. This is a small portion on the proposal here. This is for the 23,000. The updated park conceptual site plan will be used for general park promotion and fundraising purposes. The conceptual site plan is not for construction purposes and is subject to change based on environmental conditions and natural features discovered once the project proceeds to final engineering design. So does that help to clear things up a little bit too? I mean,
No.
It doesn't.
No.
Okay.
No. Let me just go back a couple steps. So JJ, did I hear correctly? Did you already give Bob the updated construction costs of those items in the original plan?
Yeah, that was sent to Joe and Bob earlier this week.
All right. Okay. So question for Bob. Bob, and I guess Chris McNeil as well, if you're on both. So I'd like to have Chris weigh in on this one too. Just make sure we're all on the same page here. Does it make any sense to proceed now with this work before we hear back from DCNR, whatever it's called?
Actually, DCNR is waiting on us to get this information to them. One of the big hiccups has been on this is there has been little to no activity over the last, I'm going to say, year and a half, 2 years. And I think that's where we need to show proof that we are moving forward, that we are going to, get things done in this project. And I know everything we spoke about. I know Joe had reached out to JJ and pretty much spelled out all of those concerns and issues that were brought up. We just need to get this updated plan to them. And then from that point, then after we have a conceptual plan, then we will take off with the actual design and development of the park so that we are moving forward with getting the final approval of the board, Parks Board, and then go into the phase of putting engineering drawings together and bidding.
All right. So Bob, do me a favor, please. Would you mind circulating to Ed, Craig, Parks and Rec, and me the cost estimates that JJ came up with?
Yes, that'll be sent to you after the meeting.
Great, thank you. Chris, Chris McNeil, do you have anything to add to this?
I think what we're trying to do is follow the direction that Bob has come forward with at the end of the meeting that we had on Friday. And I'm following his lead.
I think we lost Chris.
Can you hear me?
We can now.
I said we discussed in more detail towards the end of the Friday meeting how we wanted to move forward. And I know that there's coordination that also has to happen if the Pennhurst Holdings grant comes forward. And I'm following Bob's lead on how he wants to proceed with moving forward with this grant, because we have this other complication, which is a marvelous one to have, because Pennhurst Holdings is going to do some fantastic work at the park. So I'm following Bob's lead at this moment.
Yeah, and I think this is something that we need to meet DCNR's requirements. And then as Chris mentioned, as the board approved at the last meeting, a multimodal grant application that was submitted from Pennhurst Holdings to develop a significant portion of the park, which again is definitely a huge benefit. So we'll have our fingers crossed that we do get that. And then that's where there's going to have to be a lot of coordination to kind of match and marry these two plans together. So, but I think we need to move on this portion that'll satisfy DCNR. And then when we find out on the grant, then that's when all the work begins. And I think that's a lot of those concerns that you had, Mark.
And that will be part of HRG's burden in developing this concept plan is marrying all the different plans, concepts, grants that are out there into one master concept plan. So we're all on the same page moving forward.
Got it. Okay. Thank you, JJ.
There is one thing I do want to mention here on the document also, on the schedule portion. This document was dated July 5th of this year. It says that in the schedule portion that we anticipate receiving at the Township's Board of Supervisors meeting on July 10th, 2024. So that was supposed to be 5 days after this letter was put together. I think that would have to be amended. Would you agree to that?
Sure. Yeah, we can amend the schedule.
Yeah. Okay. So that's just there's another issue on the documents that we just need to change. Should we? I guess we should probably change the motion here to change this wording a little bit on as long as this gets revised. All right. So I'm going to put forward to withdraw the motion. Do I need to do that now? Are you sure?
Why? Craig, just amend it.
Just amend the motion.
Yeah, you can just do an amended motion.
Let's do that. So I'm going to amend the motion to say that this date will be corrected at some point in the near future.
No. If I can suggest, Craig, JJ, how soon could you give us the revised date? By next week?
I mean, I could give it to you right now. It's today's Board of Supervisors meeting for approval.
There you go.
Okay. We'll change the date. This document will be changed to today's Board of Supervisors meeting.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, there's only 30 more to go.
Yeah. Haley, for whatever it's worth, the motions are not coming up on Boardable.
I have it.
Yeah, I can see it.
Sometimes it whites out, but then you have to go back, click out of it and go back in.
Yeah, I tried that a couple of times, but go ahead, Craig.
Okay. This is item K on the agenda. So if you have the paper agenda, I'll just explain it right now. This motion is for condemnation of certain properties. This is 109 Sheeter Road. I move that the East Vincent Township Board of Supervisors adopt resolution 24-19, authorizing the condemnation of certain property located at 109 Sheeter Road as set forth in said resolution, and further authorizing the township engineer to perform survey work in furtherance thereof. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion with the board. Is there anything that anybody wants to discuss on this one?
Well, the public should know that the parcel consists of approximately 27 acres, 29 acres?
Something like that.
Okay.
There will be two.
About a little two plus acres will be carved out, and so the area to be condemned would be the parcel less the 2-acre parcel that will be kept by the current owner.
Right.
And the parcel that would be condemned would be used for public purposes. And among other things, the township trail system will eventually go through this parcel of property. It's in the Hopewell Big Woods, which is ecologically diverse. Chris McNeil, you can probably describe more than I can about this property. If you want to weigh in for 1 minute or two.
Go ahead, Christine.
This property was considered by the Open Space Committee, and an application was submitted early in the year to the Chester County Park Preservation Program, which we received a grant award for. It has 3 first-order streams unimpaired to the exceptional value French Creek, and the property will be, as Mark mentioned, part of a larger trail system, and it will be for nature enjoyment of the public of East Vincent Township.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Christine. Any further discussion with the board?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Going to item L on the agenda. I move that the East Vincent Township Board of Supervisors adopt ordinance number 24-253 titled Brush, Weeds, and Grass Ordinance regarding the regulation of invasive and noxious plants in East Vincent Township. Do I have a second?
Second.
This is where,
Okay. Will both of you agree to a friendly amendment that would read as follows, provided that the ordinance will be sent to the EAC for its review and comment, and subject to such further revisions as EAC may recommend to the board, that the board may accept.
I'm willing to adopt it, but I'm not going to say all that, but I'm just going to adopt it to the motion, just based on what you've just said. I'm willing to consider that, yes.
So
How long do we wait for EAC or anybody else to get back on that?
Okay, I had a good point, provided that let's get the EAC 30 days, get back to us.
Too long. Every day, we've got a problem that's growing.
Well, no, Ed, if the motion passes, the ordinance is in place.
Okay.
Right, so the ordinance goes forward. All that's going to happen is EAC may have some suggested revisions. If we agree with the revisions, we simply amend the ordinance.
And Mark, I think what you're trying to do, I think we're all in probably agreement on the bamboo. It's on the weeds. That's where this amendment is. We're going to get further.
No, it's the whole thing.
It's the whole thing? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sort of for the, going ahead with the bamboo portion. I think we could have other.
So there's a friendly amendment to the motion. So the proponent of the motion, I think the second of the motion, has to accept the friendly amendment.
So if it gets passed tonight, like you said, it would be in effect tonight, and then it could be amended. But I don't see why the EAC, it would then be an amendment to the existing ordinance, and there's no action on the EAC that would have to be adopted. Correct? It's all suggested for future amendment. So it would have to be approved as it's written.
Correct.
And then you would agree that, I don't know if that needs to be part of the motion. If
Correct.
you want the EAC to review it, it doesn't have to be part of the motion. You could just agree.
Adopt it as it is,
Mhm.
and then we could amend it later if the EAC comes back and says we want to amend it. We don't have to make that part of the motion.
Correct.
Mark, were you trying to say that part, I know you said both of it would go through, but I think maybe what your intention was, because of some of the public comment, was to allow EAC to, as condition for this to go through, maybe bamboo would be approved and then the weeds. No, you're not.
No, the whole thing, Craig, the whole thing.
All right. So I thought that's where you were heading.
Right. I just want to have the board action that directs us, that rather directs the EAC to review and then come back to us. Ed's point is well taken. Come back to us within 30 days with its suggested revisions.
Okay, so we can make that a second motion.
What you could do is just direct the manager to send it to the EAC and then have them review it and then make recommendations back to the board at your September meeting.
I think
Okay.
that's approach.
Okay, let's do that. Okay. So I did promise everyone there'd be public comment on that. We will wait until this presentation is finished and then everyone will be able to have their amount of public comment on this particular ordinance. So if you could please proceed.
Sure.
Thank you.
This is an item that's been ongoing for many months, even up to probably 9 months, that we became aware of issues encroaching on properties, but also encroaching into the road. There are some pictures here that were submitted to us, and I appreciate Mark for your submission of these to show us. But you can see how fast from this bamboo has grown, and this
Can
is
can you share those with those of us who are online? Very good. Thank you.
And this has continued to spread almost by the day that this is going. You can see that there's a solar field there that is starting to encroach towards this. We have tried for months, working with the solicitor, working with Cindy, working with Haley, to try to find a way to try to get some action out of the property owner that's not maintaining the bamboo. And we haven't had anything in our code or in the laws to be able to enforce this. We've tried other ways with health, safety, and welfare and other issues. We just don't have it. So this is something that we would like to see this get adopted. As of tomorrow, we could send letters out to the property owner to put them on notice that this needs to be corrected. If not, then we can actually take action for this. So you can just see how this is growing. Again, I think it's daily. I'm not sure, how it's going. We should bottle that, whatever that is, to grow, but it is a problem. It is an invasion of private property. We have problems on roads when we get heavy rains or snow. Yeah. Bamboo is now creating a hazard upon the roads too as well, but we have no enforcement tools to be able to it's taken care of. So, and then we also look at weeds. Again, this is one that, again, is a property that's not been maintained. If you are familiar with the motel on 724, that is a huge eyesore that has not been maintained, and there are weeds that are at least 3, 4, 5 feet tall in there. This is where we need these to be able to be cut and trimmed. This is not where we are looking at residential properties, which there are a number of properties in the township that residents have grown different native plants that, we're not enforcing. That's not the issue. It's the issues where properties are not maintained, and it falls outside that realm of native plants that can grow, because it is an eyesore and it is a problem to neighbors and residents that we've heard from. So that's what this begins the process, so that tomorrow we can start the process of citing individuals. There aren't many property owners that we have here, but it gives the tools to Cindy to be able to cite this. Jones Motors is another one that is a huge problem there. So we are not going to the average homeowner whose grass is, 5 inches tall. The intention is where it has gotten out of hand. So I'd ask the board to consider adopting this tonight, and then I agree that this would be sent to the EAC for their review, changes and amendments. And then if the EAC would like, I'll try to get the arborist to attend as well, because he was involved in creating this along with the solicitor and with staff.
Okay. I go down Holman Road frequently. Of course, Elaine Melito lives there. And there's bamboo that's growing prolifically on properties such as right abutting Holman Road. One thing we should consider doing, gentlemen, is developing a survey. Because the way the ordinance reads, there are two when it comes to bamboo in particular, there are two different categories. You have a category of pre-existing conditions, in which case the property owner, the private property owner has to take certain measures within 25 feet of the adjacent of his neighbor's property. Then you have new growth and planting. In order to figure out what's new and what's recently planted, we have to have some visual basis, some database that tells us what we have. Because the latter, in other words, the new growth is just absolutely positively forbidden, and that requires extraction, complete extraction. So we're going to need some kind of a baseline database to determine what's new and what's pre-existing.
That's something.
Go ahead, Bob.
And that's something that we will utilize our arborist on that to make those determinations.
Okay. All right. The other thing to consider, gentlemen, is that there is a movement afoot to replace, that urges people to replace their lawns with natural settings to encourage, for example, wildflowers, meadows, to increase and preserve the food chain for birds and other species and animals in the environment. This has been done by a number of neighbors of other locations, some of whom happen to be in neighborhoods that are governed by HOAs, and they've reported that they've encountered stiff resistance from their neighbors. I hope that this ordinance is not intended to discourage people who want to convert their properties to meadows. That's the hope. Now, on the ordinance side, we have to be careful to make sure that the ordinance is properly drafted, so that it can be applied as stated. We have to have as little. We have to have. It's not going to help us, and it's not going to help our residents if the standards that are going to be applied by our township officials aren't clear, and if it puts our code compliance officer in a position where she has to make a call without any guidance. People have to be held to a common standard. And the concern I have about the way the weed ordinance is drafted is, I'm not sure there's a common standard that can be applied. That's something we can address for revisions, but please keep that in mind. So common standard and clarity are the two most important considerations that we need to address. That's it.
Yeah, motion.
Yeah, we do. Are there any other comments here, Ed? No more. Okay. So yes, I did say for public comment. Yes, go ahead.
Will that include county property that's within the township? So for example, there's a stand of bamboo that's growing from Pigeon Creek along the Schuylkill River Trail that's heading toward the road and heading toward the trail. Would this be covered under there, as well as
You're
the
saying
former
property outside
Tudor?
of East Vincent Township is what
No,
you're saying? No,
it's in the
It's in
township.
the township.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
will cite the county, we will cite the state. We will
Okay,
cite
so
anybody who's.
so
not-
then, like the Tudor home where the grass and weeds are now, they'll get hit as well.
Correct. And if we have to
Thank you.
cite the governor, we'll cite the governor.
Yeah, I say that's aggressive. I like that. That's good.
Friends and
It's a good way to make friends. Yeah, he's right. Okay, let's take the comment online first. Go ahead.
Hi, Molly Weigel, 19 Kerrigan Avenue. Thank you so much. I think this is a great step in the right direction. So we appreciate all the effort that has gone into this. As we said, we have some few tweaks from the EAC that I think can really even further strengthen this ordinance, as Mark was alluding to, and help provide some clarity and help avoid future issues. And the one question I had was, can you please clarify, so the EAC will review this, give feedback, and then how do we ensure that we get the proper legal review? Or again, that's not our forte. So if we have 30 days, can you clarify that timeline a little bit, and maybe the process, if it's coming from you, Bob?
If I can just suggest, is to take whatever time you want, because we want, you know, we don't want you to rush to be able to get through this. If it takes you, 2 months to get through it to where you want to have the input, we'll do that. But, as soon as we can, and the solicitor will be responsible for making sure it's in legal format. And I can volunteer, Kat, to attend the EAC meeting. That would be great if you could.
Yes.
So that they are there, to be able to advise them as it's going through. That would be great.
Yeah, thank you. That'd be great too.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Yes. If you could come up, please. Give us your name and address, please.
My name is Nicole Keegan. I'm at 211 Devlin Drive. I'm also on the Planning Commission, Open Space Committee. I have two comments or two issues that I just kind of want to read. One, Molly kind of discussed the timeline. I just want to make sure that, because I don't know, I'm just asking the question. Is there a public comment? What is the process going, through the ordinances, bringing up a new resolution? Is there a process where the public gets to comment on the ordinance, or is it just the resolution's passed and that's the resolution?
What we're doing here is, for tonight's session on the agenda, we have public comment at the beginning. I'm allowing public comment for some of these ordinances because I know that it's key. We also have public comment later on the agenda. Just look here.
I know that it's
Yeah, it's
tonight,
there,
but I wasn't
right.
sure if there was kind of like a 30-day review process, or when you bring a new ordinance to be approved.
Right.
Is that in the ordinance? Like, what is the?
What the
is
public
it
comment
just
bit should be.
tonight When you have a passing an ordinance, do you just pass it, or is there, I thought there was like a longer review process. Not that I'm not trying to hold up the bamboo. I know that it's an issue.
Yeah.
I'm not,
Okay, we got a motion on the table, right?
Yeah. To answer your question is, some of these we had discussed previously whether we needed to take this for further review, and in some of these we don't.
Okay.
So we don't have to go forward, like go through another process. In some instances we do. So if we need to, we'll say that we're going to have to send it to the planning commission, or
right.
or we're going to send it to, Parks and Recs or EAC, whatever that would be. And that's not the case for some of these here. We don't have to do that. So that's,
Okay, yeah,
that's
I'm
the
just
answer.
asking.
Yes.
Um,
No, it's a good question.
And my second thing is, I wanted to bring up what Mark touched on about the weed portion of the ordinance. I mean, I know that we don't want unsightly landscapes and residences and public spaces, but there is a difference between a manicured lawn and a sustainable landscape and a meadow that is intentional, and that I think the language needs to be robust in the ordinance so that that we can allow all these different types of landscapes. Especially, we've been moving towards more meadows and all the benefits, the biodiversity, the native plants, and
We do have,
recharging the groundwater, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So I do think the language, and I'm glad that the EAC is able to take a look at it and to be able to comment on it, to have the best ordinance that we can.
yes.
Right. Now, Nicole, to that point, meadows are an exception. So that's already in there. As for the rest of your point, we have some suggested language that John Horsback, Hosback, our arborist, had come up with to address the question about weeds. Whether or not it's going to be satisfactory to EAC remains to be seen, but at least we're moving in that direction. So we are we're already in the process of coming up with some changes that can address the concerns of those who want to convert their properties into meadows.
Yeah, because both a manicured lawn and a meadow can look beautiful, depending on how it's maintained.
You're correct. This ordinance, though, is not the one we had previously spoken in previous meetings about unsightly properties. We had presentations before where we talked about that. This one here is just addressing mostly, I mean, it's more on these noxious weeds, the ones that they're, I don't know if we say poisonous and some of the other.
No, it's negligence of
Yeah.
property maintenance. It
Yeah.
has nothing to do with like what you
Okay.
spoke about.
Mhm.
Meadows are definitely a benefit. It's those at properties where people are just negligent. They don't want to take care of the property. That's what we're looking at.
But
It is not.
there would also have to be the opportunity for them to have a meadow, or, I'm just saying that the language in all the different ordinances have to, you know, be connected.
Gel
and,
together, is
um,
what you're saying.
right,
To gel
together, so that,
Right.
that's it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Nicole.
Bill?
Fields, Stony Run Road. Yeah, it's some kind of dovetailing on what Nicole was talking about. I'm concerned about that this becomes something of, we'll know it when we see it, type of problem. And I mean, I know there's properties in the township, and I look at them and go, I know that's a problem. But we know we have to be very careful how we write the exceptions to this. And I know Mark had talked about there's exceptions in there for meadows. But the language itself has to be, I guess I'd be very interested in what the language says. Is it by acreage? Is it by distance from a house or a structure? How do we define what a meadow is? How do we define hydraulic soils or wetlands? If somebody has wetlands in their yard and it's grown up around it, it's that qualified. And so I'm just interested in the discussion of what qualifies or what exceptions are written into it.
Bill, those are already called out. I'll just give an example. Woodlands, trees, shrubbery, ornamental grasses used for landscaping purposes, cultivated gardens, flower beds, vegetable gardens, wildflower gardens, and meadows. Steep slopes, wetlands, floodplains, riparian corridors, areas within 15 feet of a water course, pond or lake, areas where stormwater management or conservation wildlife management plans have been established, where such prohibition would be detrimental to the proper environmental functioning of said areas. Now, we can debate whether or not the language itself as crafted is sufficient, whether it needs to be tightened, but the exceptions are there. And if there's ever a doubt about what a wetland is, there are industry standards and definitions that can be used to define wetlands if that ever becomes an issue. I don't know that we could ever get to the point where we'll have an ordinance that is crafted in such a way that we have precise language that can be applied to every single instance that we see. I think we're kidding ourselves if we think we can get to that point. We can't. As I said before, we have to make sure that we have at least the ground rules for applying a common standard to everybody, so we can avoid what you allude to in the beginning of your statement, leaving it to, well, we'll know when we see it. Some element of that, some element of we know when we see it is going to be in this ordinance, no matter what we do.
Yep.
I think we're just never gonna get to the point where we can eliminate that entirely.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad you went through the specific examples. I hadn't read it, so I didn't get the benefit of seeing those. But still, when we talk about meadows, a meadow is not necessarily a fallow field. A fallow field should also be, considered in this perspective of this. It should be a meadow, right? I mean, if somebody's running their field fallow before they regenerate crops for the following year, that should be excluded as well as
It's already addressed.
meadow, right? I mean,
It's already in there.
oh, we see.
Well, it addresses farmland. If it's
Well, it
farmland,
says land actively cultivated for crop production or actively utilized as pasture.
it already addresses.
Okay.
I'm not sure if fallow is necessarily included in that, because fallow means it's not being cultivated.
Right.
There are references in here, so I would encourage, what we're going to do tonight, we're going to go through and we're going to put this up for vote. And then we're going to send this over to the EAC to have them look at this, and then I would like to amend this hopefully by next BOS meeting. That would be good. I mean, I just want to let you know, there are references in here back to DCNR, and they're talking about invasive plants and things like that. And they have a whole list of that stuff listed in there. These are things that any of the members of the public can go and look at those lists. But when I first read this, I thought there would be some concerns about this, about the weeds portion, not the bamboo, but the weeds portion. And I definitely am looking for further comment on this.
And are we talking height? Or are we talking types of plant? Are we talking multi-floral rows? Are we talking, that's all?
There is some mention here about height.
Or
There is.
or the height.
And it also mentions what you just said.
Yeah.
So, okay. Okay.
Right.
And
Is read it, Bill.
yeah, I was gonna tell you I had to.
It's available.
Yeah, okay. Relative to the tree each other, but the other part of it.
Right.
And again, I have no stake in this one way or the other. We have none, neither do our neighbors. But relative to those folks that already had planted them, are they now going to be held accountable for what they had done in the past? I mean, is there any kind of grandfather clause for those folks, or
Bill,
I'm just throwing it out there.
yeah, Bill, again, we're talking about bamboo.
Yep.
There's a section in the ordinance dealing with pre-existing bamboo. It does not require the homeowner to eliminate everything, the bamboo from his property. What it says instead is you've got to maintain a buffer of at least 25 feet between your property and your adjacent and your neighbor's property.
Yeah.
And by many things, putting in concrete barriers, whatever it takes. So the ordinance does address that.
I'm just concerned with what Mark said earlier, that it's going at least 25 feet underground before it pops back up again. So it's 25 and up. Yeah, I don't know. Again, not a bamboo expert, so I'm just.
I'll have to defer to Bob, and I guess John. Bob, is John the one who came up with the 25-foot barrier?
He did.
Okay.
And again, there's nobody grandfathered in on this.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
But Bill, you raise a good point. So whether you're a part of the EAC or not, we encourage people, the public, to come back to us with any concerns they may have and suggestions. So this is not just the EAC. Anybody can come back to us and we encourage it. Please come to us. Send your comments to Bob, so we at least have a complete list so we can review them.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Any comments online? Okay.
Yeah, Dana.
Hello, Dana.
Hi, Dana Chaffone, Hearthstone Circle. I'm sorry I didn't have a chance to read the ordinance, but I mean, there is a listing of noxious weeds from the PA state, and it also includes Class A, B, and C. Class C includes the federal list of noxious weeds. So there is a defined list there. I don't know if that's, something.
It's cross-referenced, Dana.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Point.
And then there was case law that I found, which I sent to Bob. It was before vacation, Bob, so I don't know if we ever connected and said you received it, but there were some questions around the HOA piece that you mentioned, Mark. How do they fall within this invasive and the roots and the bamboo? I didn't have a chance to dig into it anymore, but I know there were some questions around how HOAs are treated within an ordinance of this type. So maybe we just need to dig into that a little bit more.
Good point.
But Bob, I think you have that,
Okay.
right?
I believe so.
Okay, I'll resend it just in case. Thank you.
Right. And Bob, can you pass that on to Joe, please? And let's have Joe come back with an opinion.
So with all this being said, we are still going to move forward with approving this tonight, or at least put it up for approval, continue with the motion here. Right. Do we? Okay, I'll put it up. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Good, thank you.
With-
As part of this, Mr. Chairman, I'll ask Cindy to send the letter out tomorrow morning to that neighbor. In
Yes,
regards to the
and,
bamboo.
and everything we mentioned before about following up with the EAC and all that. stuff, yes.
Absolutely. We'll
Okay.
do
Well, in it, Bob, in addition to that, you need to direct Jason to as soon as possible, along with John, do a survey and contact all the homeowners who have bamboo and alert them as to their responsibilities.
Okay. Will do.
Okay.
Moving on to item M. There's a Z down here somewhere. I move that the East Vincent Township Board of Supervisors adopt ordinance number 24-254 titled Food Processing Residual regarding the land application and storage of food processing residual in East Vincent Township.
I'll
Do I-
second. I think, all right, Ed seconded, good.
Okay.
So everybody's aware, all we did here was make a couple of changes that actually expand the scope of the ordinance. And those changes are found in the first paragraph, actually the second paragraph number 2. So we address additional persons and entities that are now who and that will be subject to this ordinance. So we try to close a loophole. Otherwise, the ordinance is exactly what we passed a couple months ago.
And this has been discussed many times in previous meetings.
Yep.
Are there any questions? Any questions with the board?
Nope.
All, say all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we're going to item N.
Oh, yes.
I move that the East Vincent Township Board of Supervisors adopt resolution 24-20 authorizing 1, the township withdrawing from DVHIT effective January 1, 2025. 2, hiring of Sterling Benefits. 3, engaging a new healthcare insurance provider effective January 1, 2025. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
This is something that I know the board has asked me to do, to look at all of the township's expenses and try to get other competitive prices, what to look at.
Yeah.
I know when I interviewed here, I know Ed had asked me, that this is something to be looked at, over the last probably 10 years or so. I've been looking at this. We went out and got some proposals for this, and we are recommending that we move forward with this proposal. With this proposal, in a situation which we are matching up against Delaware Valley Health Insurance Trust, the township anticipates saving beginning next year over $220,000 for a healthcare plan that, in our opinion, exceeds the current healthcare plan. So those are some significant dollar savings. It's something that we made sure that, all the employees had an opportunity to meet and go through this and ask questions, because again, it's one of those things of when it looks too good, you question, say, okay, it sounds too good, it can't be true. But actually, this has been vetted through by all the members of the board, and our staff has looked at this, and we're very comfortable in moving forward with this healthcare plan for our staff.
Yeah, and we did vet this a lot. We had lots of questions, and I think the only thing I forgot to ask them was about premium tax credits, because I think if the average employee makes over $50,000, you can't get that on the premium. I don't know if anybody's here.
Yes, Jim is here. Jim, I don't know if you want to come on up. Jim,
It has to do with gaining a tax credit for small employers that are, I think it's under 100 employees, up to 50% of the premium. There's a calculation there to be able to get some tax credits back, but only if certain conditions are met. One I don't think we're going to qualify for is that the average employee expense has to be 50,000 or under. And I don't know if you, yes, go ahead. this is on the premium to get a portion back. Like one of the things you can do with the ACA is that you can get some of that premium back. This is different. This is related to a tax credit on the cost. And yeah. Yeah, well, I was wondering if, because it mentioned about anyone who's paying this. I wanted to bring that up just to see if there was any applicability to this, but okay, I mean, that might be the case here for this. Maybe we don't get anything at all.
I think we don't pay taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it happens for regular employer groups,
Yeah.
under 50 or 100, and I would have to take a look at that, but if the township doesn't pay taxes, I don't think that would apply.
Yeah, I didn't know if there was anything where this might apply. It was just one of the things I was thinking about as I was looking through this, but it looks, I mean, most everything that you guys provided, it looked very good. We had a good vetting process when we discussed this previously. And we really did try to find if there was anything that could jump up and sort of grab us at the end here, but we haven't found anything yet. So I just want to say, I think we had a good process there that we went through, and I'm in support of moving forward with this.
And Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yeah.
I think some of the advantages, or maybe even more, is through Divot, it was Aetna. This will change to Independence Blue Cross, which again, the plan that is being offered here and was designed is one that under the other health plan, experience was a big factor in that, which in my opinion, I believe we are subsidizing other communities as part of this group, as part of this. And when we look forward to renewals, experience isn't an item. So based on that plan, which is again, a huge benefit to the township. And again, especially over 220,000 is a significant cost savings.
Right. And one of the things is the premium refund are, would we might see savings. This is where 80% of the costs have to go towards the healthcare costs for the one who's under the plan. So we would still qualify for that. If this is different than the whole tax thing I was talking about before, but is that still, we get a reimbursement at some point later on?
So Independence Blue Cross, under the fully insured premiums and the program that East Vincent would be part of, there's a loss ratio that if premium is paid, I don't believe it's going to be the case if they're going to be able to track if the amount of premium that is collected versus the amount of claims that are incurred, if that's below a certain loss ratio, there's potential there. I'd have to look into this, but there's potentially, earnings and revenue that could come back.
Okay, good. Because I saw that at my other companies, we usually get some type of refund at some point, as long as our claims are not over a certain threshold that they go through and evaluate, usually each year. Like you saw with some employers over in previous years, they usually get a big refund back based off of the premium based.
Yeah, it's called the medical loss ratio, and I have to double check to see if that qualifies for what's called the ACA plans. And what a lot of insurance carriers do, including IBC, is they have segments of where different groups of how they rate the premiums. The township, what we're proposing is called small group age bandit, which is their rates that are filed with the government before they actually go into effect. There's no negotiation on the rates. So I would have to go back and check to see if that medical loss ratio program is in effect for that small group platform.
Okay, and then just one more question on this is that for small groups, when they go through the renewal process, which is going to be each year, will they be utilizing because we're a small group, will they be utilizing the previous claims to be able to evaluate what the rates will be in the new year.
So in the small group, IBC, they do what's called community rating. So they take their entire block of business under 50 enrolled. And for the last, historically, over the last 10 years, there have been very minimal increases. And looking back historically over the last 3 or 4 years, there have been many flat increases and low single digit increases. So we're looking at the law of large numbers that are community rated, not so much, group specific.
Okay.
The whole point is the control cost.
Right. So if we have, because we have a healthy group of people, if I were to say that we don't have as many claims, that when we go through the renewal process, the rates should be less than maybe what it would be if we had a lot of claims coming through.
I wish that were the case, Greg.
You're gonna help the overall pool of claims in millions of members. So for me to say, is East Vincent Township, the subscribers and members on the plan going to directly affect the premiums in a high way? It's probably not. It's going to help a very slight bit, but I wouldn't look at it. East Vincent is going to be the fixed premium rates with IBC are not going to be affected by claim performance.
They're not going to be, because I thought we were in our own plan, separate from it. We're not in a group plan with others. Or are we?
We're bringing you, you're in your own group plan. You have your set of premium, but it's community rated, and the rates are filed with the state every year.
Okay.
You do get your own renewal, but the block of the plans that you get to choose from, the premium is based off those plan designs and not so much through the township alone.
Yeah, and that's where the other parts of the calculation come in, like the risk evaluation for the groups, and there's other parts of that. That's where there's other portions come in that IBC or another insurance provider would put into the calculation for the rates during the renewal period.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And IBC does that, but they segment it by size. So if you go above, if you're being calculated and you're being rated above 50 members or 100 members, there are different calculations on how those premium rates are derived.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any other questions? Or
No.
No. Okay. I don't think there'll be any questions from the residents.
You got a motion on the table.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yep, you're
Thank
welcome.
you for your work on that.
Yeah, absolutely. There was huge cost savings, as Bob mentioned, and that's going to help to defray other costs that we may incur through just other cost pressures like inflation and other things that are causing our costs to go up. This will help to defray some of that cost, which is great. And I'd love to see that the township is working on that, which is, I congratulate you all the time on that. We're going to get to the last item here on new business. I move that East Vincent Township Board of Supervisors authorize Rockwell Urban Forestry to create an approved tree species planting list and brochure. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Discussion.
We, a group of us put together a list of native plants, which includes trees, shrubs, flora, and other types of plantings that will replace the ones that we currently have in Saldo. This will be the go-to list for all developers, and we put for both residential and commercial properties and industrial properties as well. Forgive me. what we should do though is, and hopefully we'll approve this motion. But after it is approved, we should get the list to EAC for its review and comment as well.
Yeah, and one of the questions I have with this is that the Arbor Day Foundation often tells you what trees would be appropriate for a certain region of the country. And then there's initiatives out there to try to save certain tree species, which the Arbor Day Foundation also works on. And I know there's some other ones out there like the trees out in California, those huge redwood trees that they're trying to encourage others to plant. I think we're a region in there. I would just be open that this is something that we could reference to maybe in our ordinances, that we could just change it as time goes by without having to go through and do a motion here over and over again. I think we've done this with other ordinances before where we've had a reference to an ongoing list. Are we saying that this has to be based on this list here, what's approved, or we can't update this going forward with just?
The ordinance itself has not been drafted. Yeah, so that's on my plate to do. Excuse me, but the list itself is already there. And this list was put together again by a group that consisted of John Hosback, Marty Meadows, and Nicole Keegan, and myself. We drew from various sources of native plants, and various sources that identified native plants that were endemic to this particular region, southeastern Pennsylvania. So, for example, I mean, there are a number of trees that used to grow here that will never grow again because of climate change, so they were not included.
Where would someone go to be able to see this list? Because with this motion, there's nothing attached to it.
Well, John's got the list.
John's got the list.
Yeah. So the list has not been published. And again, we should get it off to EAC for its review. Make such adjustments as we can. So what I hope we will do, all this motion is doing is authorizing John, giving John the authorization to create the list and the brochure and the list. So John should wait until we get the feedback from EAC, and we'll make such revisions to the list as necessary, and then get that list to John, and he can proceed.
Yeah, I based on the emails, it looks like this one had been completed already. So
yeah,
okay, but it has been completed.
Yeah, it has been the list. Yes,
okay. He's just going to he says he's going to create an approved list and brochure. So it's already been done.
The list has been done. Yes,
you're just saying he's going to create this list to publish out there.
It's a colored brochure that we will put on the website, so the developers and what have you know exactly, and homeowners know exactly where to go. What I'm saying, Craig, is we can approve this. We can put John on hold until EAC comes back with its review and comment.
All right, we have the motion on here.
Is there any public comment?
Yeah, is there any public comment on this one, on the motion? No, there's none. Okay. So I'll just move forward. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we are out of the business agenda. On to boards and commissions.
Solicitor's report and then the manager's report.
Right. Yeah, let's start. Yes, if you could please.
Yes.
Go ahead.
There is no solicitor report this evening. The regular solicitor, Joe Clement, will be back next month.
Okay. Bob, we'll move on to the township manager's report.
Yes, for brevity purposes, because of the hour we're in. Haley was not at the last board meeting, but I did want to recognize Haley for putting the newsletter together. She did a heck of a job putting that together outside of all her responsibilities. Took this up and did a great job with it. So thank you, Haley. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Next on to the, it's item 8 on the agenda here. This is the Boards and Commissions and Environmental Advisory Council. Do we have a representative here? Elaine? Yes.
Elaine, Chair of the EAC. It's getting late, so I don't want to present my whole presentation. I did submit it to you guys and all the attachments. And maybe we could just leave it right now to say, are there any comments or problems with anything I have written, with the, not I, the EAC has put forth?
She said she skipped.
Well, just quickly, yeah, I would like some action on this. This can go really quickly. We would like out front, there's a stormwater basin. The sign that's there is from when it was a meadow before this township building was built. Now it's stormwater, that can be a meadow also, but right now it's all invasive plants. So the AAC would like to retrofit this and to get rid of all the invasives and to plant native plants. So just some pictures. These are all non-native grasses that are in there now. You can go to the next one. There are a lot of invasives. These are just pictures of 2 of them. There are more visible now. Mugwort, hedgebed straw. There are a lot of invasives in there, apart from the grasses. There are a few natives right at the end where the driveway comes in. There is some milkweed, and there was one bergamot plant, but now there's a whole little patch. So these pictures were taken a little while ago. So there is a section that very small section that probably doesn't need to be redone. So we'd like to restore it to its initial state. These are all things that have been mentioned, why meadows are important. Better infiltration, important food sources, more visually attractive, and an educational example for the residents of the town. How well, we would have to get a grant. And so that's what we're asking the Board of Supervisors to approve the idea of going forward with this so we can figure out how to do it. We would need money to get professional help to remove the invasives. I don't think that's anything we can do on our own. We can do the research for what we should be planted there. We have a lot of experts on that in our committee. In fact, I had to leave tonight. The county has a roundtable for HOAs to tell them how to get these stormwater meadows in their community. And Michelle Adams was presenting an example of one and how she went about doing it and why. I didn't get to see it, but I will get the recording. So the point is, we do have experts on the committee that can handle this. There are a couple of possibilities. We can just buy the plants, plugs, and use the grounds crew and citizens to volunteer to plant them, or we can hire someone to seed the meadow with free seeds. Ernst Seeds will give out free seeds if people are doing this. So and then of course we have to create a maintenance plan. It should be mowed every spring so that the plants are there for habitat during the winter and seeds for the animals and stuff. So yeah, just quickly, we want the okay to go ahead with researching all this.
Okay. Are you finished?
Yes.
Okay. I had asked all the committees, boards, and commissions several months ago to create. I mean, to come to us and come to Bob and Bill with their wish list for next year for budget purposes. So has EAC done that yet?
Yes.
Is that part of its requests?
No, this is a request to get a grant to do it.
Well, I mean, typically a grant requires matching money.
Well, the matching money, I would hope would be done by the volunteers. So that would be planting the plants.
That's correct. Elaine's correct, that you can use volunteer time. You can actually, that actually does qualify towards
Okay,
a match.
all right.
So I guess we just want to know, should we, can we proceed with figuring out how to do this, or do we have the board's support?
I think it's great. I think it's a great idea. Greg?
Yeah, I definitely support it, yes.
How about Ed?
I don't think he was listening.
Thank you.
That's all
Thank
right. Ed, what do you think of EAC's suggestion?
Well, obviously I stepped out, Mark, because I had to use the restroom, but I think I'm grateful for that and we'll gladly look at it.
Okay, sorry. I think it's a, I think they should proceed.
With it, I think it's, I think that it will be a good thing to do. And we'll keep you updated. There was just, the second one was the bamboo ordinance, which obviously will go, you want it included in the whole weed ordinance, so we will do that. We are waiting a final approval about the junior member on our council, because we would like to go to the high school to find this person. So I know this is the I don't know if anybody has any comment on there. The lawyer was going to look into that.
I can follow up with Joe Clement on that.
All right. And then also this is just to keep the board current on what we're doing. We did submit a grant and to Growing Greener to for the rehabilitation of Stony Run. And that grant is included in the presentations I sent to you. We are trying to work with the HOAs and we're looking for volunteers to help, because the matching part of the grant is all volunteer work. So I'd like you to read that and so see what we're up to. The fifth thing is we would just like to ask Bob and some Board of Supervisors meeting people to come to our next meeting. I'm tired too. To talk about communication. We're having a real problem with getting out to the residents for our events. We've had 2 events now that have had very, very low turnout, and we've tried everything. So we have some ideas on how we can directly communicate with the residents, and we'd like to discuss that with you guys. So we're asking that maybe somebody can come to our EAC meeting. It's next Wednesday night to discuss what I've written out here. The thing is that it looks like we're going to be doing a lot on some ordinances next week also. So anyway, that's my presentation. It's all, you have it all. I don't want to take any more time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine.
I just have a question on the agenda before we move any further. If we look at the agenda, there's a 0.9 there. Public comment on regular meeting agenda, and then there's the 5-minute recess, and you see 10, 11, and 12. Are we going to get rid of everything below the line 9 on here except for 12?
My hope is that we will postpone that. We will come out with a new schedule, given the hour that we're at
That's what
now,
I'm thinking.
to go through that. So yes, if you want to do that, I'll work on a new schedule then that we can,
address
I'll
this.
get to the board and that we can
All
put
right.
all this in there. I apologize to Alex
So just-
for hanging out this long.
Just to the fellow supervisors here, this is below not line 9 here, or item 9 on the agenda. There's the 5-minute recess, 10 and 11. What I'm suggesting is that all gets moved and removed from this. Correct. From this agenda. And I think, do we all agree on that? Yes. I don't think we had to put a motion together for that. Okay. It's I'm gonna open this up for public comment on the on anything that we've discussed or anything new, let's have some public comment on that now. And I'll open it up, and then after this will be adjournment. So if you have to get anything off your chest, let's do it now. And then we're gonna close it up. Please, if you come up here.
Monica Scriver, Valley Creek Lane. I just want to reiterate, and whatever we were talking about last month, I can't remember. I use the phrase, you don't know what you don't know. And so as a board of supervisor, when you ask for people to comment and contact Bob about, for instance, the ordinance, people who aren't here, who aren't following some of our community Facebook pages are not getting the message. And so one of the things that I'd like you to keep in mind is that if somebody were to get a citation and fine or whatever else, they may not know. I mean, how are you going to communicate? And I think it's a huge question that I'm asking. Obviously, I don't expect an answer. And the other thing is, I was wondering, because there are invasive species, are there grants out there? I know that Chester County, I know that the state has programs for invasive species. And so if you told me I had to pay $10,000, and I know there are walls of bamboo in this township because that's what people planted them for. They wanted a wall. And so 10,000 seems like a lot for me. I would pass out. I mean, I just would not. So there needs to be maybe some alternative financial options, if you can, if there's anything that's available. Just as an FYI, I just thought of it. I don't know if Princeton Hydro could even help with that, because it's daunting. And as the gentleman described, you can pull it up, but because of those rhizomes, I mean, they like to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you.
All very good points. I was thinking about that too, gentlemen. Since we're going to be passing this, since we've already passed the weed and bamboo ordinance, the township community should be told as soon as possible in a very direct way. Unfortunately, that takes that costs money to send out notices, but I think we owe it. I think we owe it to our residents to put on notice that this has changed and give them a copy of the ordinance. And when Bob said cite, we're going to start citing people tomorrow. That's not quite. That's not. We're not going to cite them by. He said we can't cite them tomorrow. Meaning we can't impose fines or what have you. We can tell them, look, here, pass this ordinance. Here's your obligation, and give them a reasonable period of time to cure. But beyond that,
that's part of it.
Yeah. I mean, but that's you're not citing anybody, so you're putting them on notice. But we really should find a way to get the word out to all the residents what the new ordinance is and then what it means.
Sure. Our hope is in the next newsletter we'll detail that. That goes to every home.
That's not until the fall, Bob. And we really should get
September sometime, so we're not that far off. And again, we won't be blanketing the community with violations. So it's the process will get out there. We have one that has to be done.
For sure.
I have a different topic, so if you want to complete your thought.
Yeah, I do. And Bob, if you can come back to the board with a plan on how we're going to go about taking inventory or creating a baseline database for where the stands of bamboo are and what the extent is and who the homeowners are.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that I think there are a few residents that are being targeted here soon, but that the rest of the residents, maybe we should wait till we have the final ordinance ready before we send it out. In other words, I don't think that Bob is going to go around now and find all the all the people that have bamboo. He's got some specific things in mind, so that this telling the rest of the residents maybe can wait.
I'm not sure I agree with that.
All right, Corey Murray, 201 Parkview Boulevard in the Stony Run Farms development. So I'm actually here as a resident. My voting precinct is at Spring City Elementary School, which is majorly under construction. So I'm wondering, has anybody talked, like, where am I voting?
You can reach out to the county
Okay.
elections board and find out how that's going to be
That'd be
addressed.
lovely. Yeah,
Sure.
because I'm sure it's a huge group. I don't know, but
They usually do reach
Sure.
out for people who are affected in their voting spot location. So like when they were building this and I had to go to alternative places and they should be notifying you about that at some point.
yeah, it just hasn't happened yet. And
Right.
because this is a big election coming up and
Right.
it's gonna be crazy. So, and there's no way to get into that building. It's totally.
You should have received some notice by now. I would have assumed. I mean, unfortunately, you might have to contact Chester County and ask.
I figure I'm just gonna ask everybody until somebody makes something good. So thank you.
Yes. Thank
Very
you.
good question.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
Hi, Dana Chaffone, thanks. On the permit software, I mean, it seems to me like the biggest thing, it sounds similar to any other document management system, right? But then what the advantage is here is that you are bringing in the GIS data and maps and what have you from the county. So I just kind of wonder what the county is using. I can only imagine the volume of documentation that they have. And, I kind of look at this as why wouldn't we be looking at other, I know it was brought up and I agree that why wouldn't we be looking at other systems that might be out there? I don't know what the difference is between this software and, like I said, any other document management system beyond the GIS data, but I'd be curious to know what the county's using. And also, I mean, I don't know if we don't have an IT professional on staff. To me, this sounds like it has to go out. We have to have a consultant take a look at this and evaluate it for encryption, security, all the things, redundancy, all the things that were brought up. And I'm not aware if we have someone on staff. But, for the spend that we're talking about, obviously it makes sense because there should be a lot more efficiencies there, which is terrific. But I would think that it would behoove us to have an IT consultant take a look at this system. So that's just a thought. And then with the ARPA spending, I'm fully on board with, looking at premium pay for our wonderful staff. But to me, that sounds like a bonus for the time that they worked during COVID. And then what we're talking about beyond that is some sort of market analysis of, these jobs based on job description responsibility that we would be then baking into our budget moving forward. So I mean, I see those as two completely separate things. Maybe I don't know enough about the ARPA, but just some thoughts around that as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you. There was another person.
Chris McNeil, 108 Nottingham. I had one other suggestion for you. Why don't we start buying or getting an email list of our households so that we have a faster way to communicate with everybody instead of having to wait for mailings to go out. At one point in time, there was a emailing list that was being collected. I don't know if that disappeared along with the billboard lease agreements and all those things, but I think we would be best off buying an email list. So then we can communicate with our residents in a cheap, easy, fast way. That's all. Good night.
Not a bad idea, gentlemen.
I think we have to get approval from them before we would start to email them directly. So I think that might be something that the township could reach out to the residents, but just to get an email list and then start blanketing people and then they have to respond without them sort of knowing that they signed up for this. I don't think that would be the path I would go down, but it's an interesting idea to look at getting the emails. It might be something that we could bring up in future meetings, but I wouldn't just take the email list and then shove it into the software program. I think we have to reach out and get everyone's approval for that.
So something you could solicit it in the newsletter to say, if you'd like faster communication, provide us your email address.
Right.
Then we get it for free. Yeah.
Right.
Great idea, but there's an easier way. Yeah.
Right. Yes, please.
That was one of the things that we are going to suggest, is to get an email list. And as far as your concern, usually you have to do that through something like MailChimp or something, and they're giving the option to just, to not these emails anymore.
Yeah, and I think we could just ask them, like, I know what you're referencing,
Right,
but
yeah.
we could just ask the residents. I think a lot of residents though they may not go for it because when there's been sometimes these email gathering activities in the township before, I know sometimes you get a low percentage of people providing that. They just, for
That's
some,
right.
they don't want to provide it.
Yeah, I agree. If it's just done voluntarily, it's very low.
It's low.
But I think we used to have an email list, and I think Ed had a great idea to buy one or something, and then giving the residents the option to get out of it if they don't want to be on.
Yeah, and some people have multiple email addresses. So let's say you bought a list and like I have different email addresses.
Yeah, I know.
Then there's that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just know Facebook doesn't work.
Yeah.
Not going on
Yeah.
some of, maybe if we had our own Facebook, that would work, but not going out on other people's accounts.
Yeah.
That doesn't work.
I understand.
Anyway, we have that all
Yes.
written out.
Thank you. Any other comments? I know it's late. It's about almost 11:15. Yes.
Sorry, folks. This isn't current business, it's old business. Just to comment on the email list.
Mhm.
If you're going to start tying that to residential addresses, that's PII, then you have to have encryption on your database.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, because you're right.
I don't want to
It's a
belabor that.
requirement. Yeah, and I know what you're referring to. It's a requirement in the US to a certain degree. In Europe, it's a really big requirement
Absolutely.
because they don't want you to have all this personal information in databases without the user's knowledge. And yes, when you brought that up, you had a good point, but the one thing I would just say to you, and I'll just make it quick, is that typically you don't have to be as concerned about it if you're not actively going out and gathering that information from users. Like if you're gathering survey information, you're bringing that type of information in, or like things that you might do it for events and you're gathering that information and you're going to save it and use it somehow. That's when those regulations come in,
If you're
especially over
saving
in
an
Europe.
email address against somebody's
Right, and you might
physical
be using
address
it for
that's
some other purpose.
personally identified.
Right.
So,
Which I don't
okay.
think that this is going to qualify. I don't think that's going to be as big a concern, but
You
I
guys-
understand
you
your
guys don't
comment
like
when you
that.
asked it.
Right,
Yeah,
sure, thanks.
Right.
We're gonna talk about my favorite project,
Okay.
Schuylkill Road Sewer.
Yes. That's a no.
So we are 65 days away from being required to connect. We have pumps that have been sitting here since January of 2023. The manufacturer's warranty says 2 years post installation or 27 months from date of purchase. Who's going to warranty these pumps when we get them? You're
Good
going to
question.
make us buy a pump that essentially has no warranty.
You actually won't be buying it. That was covered under the grant, so the homeowner will not be buying.
So that brings up my next point. And thank you, Bill, for your information the other day. I appreciate you working on the information I've asked for. So I understand that $8,600 or whatever the equivalent was moved into the grant portion. So that would up our cost so that we would get that 60% amount from the state to be a little bit higher. So I still am really struggling to understand if there's a roughly $4,700 connect fee, what is all the rest of that money for?
Oh, do you want to explain that?
So if The connect fee is $46.95 or somewhere in that area. What is all the rest of that $17,000? Because initially, when we were told that and was presented to us in March of 22, that was included in the lower portion outside the grant cost. So I'm dumbfounded why we're still paying $17,000 for the public portion. I don't understand it. And we're getting no warranty on the pump because we're not buying it, you said. So. Bill.
The connection fee was calculated by using the amount that the township is paying. And I think I went over this with you the other day, the amount that the township is paying.
That just brought up other questions. That's all. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, it's the amount that the township has paid out of pocket for the project, in addition to what we got back in the grant. So we took the overall cost of the project, less what we got back in the grant. That's that burden on the township that then is being subdivided by the number of EDUs that are being served, which was 49, I believe, potential EDUs. And that's how they came up with that cost.
Bill, he's talking about there are two components to the cost.
Right.
What Bob's talking about is I think Bob understands the first one, which is the reimbursement of our expenses. He's talking about the second one.
Right. So
there was the $8,000 for the tapping fee, which is the original tapping fee cost for the Veterans Center. That's one part of the cost, and then the other $9,000 was the part we were recouping from.
Then address the special tap-in fee, so that Bob understands what that is, please.
That was I'm sorry. That's what I was addressing. The $9,000 was the special tapping fee.
I'm sorry. So how does the special tapping fee go from in 2022 $4,650 to $9,000?
I believe. I'd have to go look at what the calculation was originally, where they came up with the 4,000, the 4,000 number, and see how that was calculated and compared to what we're doing now. I think I know what it was exactly now. Originally, the cost of the grinder pumps was not included. So the $4,000 was, and you also had the addition of the grinder pump in there to pay in addition to that. And so by putting the cost of the grinder pumps in to the included fee now, the two things, because the amount of the overall cost of the project came down, the overall amount of the grant came down.
Right.
You were
explaining that.
Right. The calculation changed so that the portion of each EDU actually went up a little higher. And I can show you the numbers. Unfortunately, I don't have them at my disposal right now.
And I appreciate
Yeah, but that was one of the things that we had to recalculate when the engineer at the time was coming up with the calculation for the fee. I had to explain to him that we haven't got we were anticipating getting the full $900,000. And
let me interrupt for a second. It does sound like this is something that you guys are currently working on.
Yes.
So what?
But it isn't just me. I've
It's
got
not-
neighbors here that have the same questions.
The same
I don't
questions.
I don't want an email sent to me that explains, we have a itemized list, although that is what I asked for.
Mhm.
Everybody else that's got questions. I started people calling me a fool, asking me if I know what's going on, why does it cost this much? You don't buy a car without having a line item description of what you buy. You're asking me to come up here, and when I submit my permit, I'm gonna give you a check for $17,000. What is it? What am I paying? What am I protecting? If now the pump has moved out of my portion and it's in the public portion, I imagine that Wexcon is gonna warrant check valves and pipes that they put in. Does that mean they're gonna be warranting the pump? How am I protected? How is it that I'm protected when that 70-gallon pump fails Because you know that you use more than 70 gallons of water in your house a day. How am I protected? I've got that much time to get that pump changed before it's a problem. And this keeps getting pushed off. Questions like, when are we gonna get our road paved, right? Supposed to get 1.25 inches paving on here after it's milled. Don't see any schedule. Did we pay them already for this? We don't have any detail. I'm just looking for some transparency because, you know, we got all the estimated costs. So as I was talking to Bill the other day, there should be a 4th column over here with what it actually costs. I want to know where those $400,000 went for fees and management costs, project contingency, and all that other stuff. On our piece that we're paying as part of this, I want to know what that $70,000 is. I want to know how much is the connection, because the connection fee here, when it was approved and bandied about, was $4,600. Now I'm hearing 9,000. Come on, you got to give us some details. You know, you said maybe next week you'll have it. Great. We're running on the deadline here. I want to know what I'm paying for.
Okay, and so we're still working with him on this, it sounds like. Okay.
Yeah, I can give you the breakdown of how we calculated those fees.
Will that information be put on the web with all the rest of it? So that the rest of the neighbors that are involved in this project have somewhere to go and have some information that.
All that information should be provided. It should be. I mean, come on, guys. We've been talking about this now for several years. We have residents who are questioning where these numbers are coming from. If I were in their shoes, I have the exact same questions. It's time for us to give them give them the information and get it to them as quickly as we possibly can.
Okay.
That's my view.
And in that, I would like to get information about how these pumps are going to be warranted. Right?
That's a separate question. So, Bob, if I understand what you're saying, the warranty is 2 years from an initial date of operation or 27 months after purchase, whichever comes first.
Right. That's what it says in the documentation that was sent by the township. And it's the manufacturer's warranty information. So now we're buying pumps, and let me just expand on this story a little bit. This particular pump that the township purchased, they no longer make a ballast for. The manufacturer doesn't make it anymore because they don't make the pump to that specification anymore. So now we have to pay someone to manually construct the ballast, which doubled the price of the ballast. Did you guys buy pumps that were near end of life? Is that why you got such a great deal on them? I don't know. Sounds suspicious.
Do we have an answer? Anybody?
I wasn't here for that, so I apologize for that.
No, I
But
know.
the issue
I don't mean to be
but
taking this out on you,
But the issue
yeah,
that
have to
we have
understand our
is,
frustration.
I'm not sure why they were bought at that time. I think the reason why they bought them is because this was going to move much quicker. And I think recently, I think we've looked at what the costs are. How can we reduce some of these expenses upon the homeowner? And I think that's taken some time there. So to try to get this into a more affordable type package. So I think the information you're looking for, I think that's something that Bill will put together. You know, I don't want to make excuses and say we shouldn't have had it done by now, but it would come back to, again, we have one person that they're a one-man show with everything. And Bill, I know will get to this as soon as he can to get that information out, because what you're asking for, I agree to. I mean, you should have that information. It's just trying to get it together, because as of right now, you know, the issue that you raise is, yeah, that pump is that grinder pump's out of warranty. So we've got to determine, okay, how are we gonna?
That's like buying a new car with no warranty, right?
That's it. You're right. So I mean,
Bob, your point is unassailable. So we need to address this.
And you know I'm famous for this question. Can I get a date for a date of when we're gonna get a resolution?
Mark, which Bob are
Mark,
you
which,
talking to?
Bob were you talking to?
I think when he said the point was unassailable, I think he meant me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, okay,
Gotcha.
so now that we're 60 to 65 days out, and first of all, I think it's kind of unreasonable. We don't have to pay the contractors 100% of the cost
And
at the initiation of a project. I think it's unreasonable that the township is requiring the entire fee, our cost, when we submit our building permit. We have no commitment to inspections, what they're going to look like, how long it's going to take, none of that kind of stuff. So while you're off thinking about this and formulating answers, I'd like you to consider the fact that it's unreasonable to expect the residents to come up here with a $17,000 check when they file a building permit, especially since we didn't know what the cost was until 30 days ago.
Well, I think if the board's okay with it, we'll extend that time period. Allow for 120 days to get everything together. If the board's okay with that, we can go ahead and do
You
that.
have to change the ordinance, right? Because it's written in the ordinance already.
We can modify that. We can put that out again. Make sure that's there.
Then will you notify the residents that you sent? the
I'll
letters
ask,
to?
I'll ask Kat if she can go back to work with Joe and to make the amendment to that. We'll get that out and then we will send a letter to
We'll
every
address that
homeowner
for
that's
the
impacted.
Next.
If it's approved, correct. We will
So,
send that out.
so in that letter, would you also include the detail, the line item detail for that?
Sure.
Let's cut all this stuff down into one. And I gotta ask for a date.
I get what you're looking for. So
No, I'm asking for a date. When?
Our hope is
Because I
that-
was told, no, wait, let me just give you concrete examples. Not the previous meeting, the meeting before that, I was told the letter's gonna go out tomorrow. And it was another month. So I'm asking you to commit to a date of when the letter's gonna go out.
we will have this, the amendment for the next board meeting. And as soon as that's approved and everybody's comfortable with it, then we will get the letter out. Last time, and I'm not going to throw the solicitor under the bus, Joe, but I think I was shocked when he said, well, we're going to get the letter out tomorrow. We didn't even have a draft of the letter done. So it's like, okay, I'm not sure how we're going to get this letter out when we don't have a draft. So I understand where you're at, but I think this gives us the time there to be able to get this information together. Give the appropriate time to be able to look at this, and then it gives us an opportunity to work on some of these different items too as well.
Okay. The only item I didn't hear any kind of answer to is when are we getting our street paved? And was it already paid for?
I'm gonna have to look and see what happened with the road being resurfaced.
Well, it's
Bill,
in
was
the
that
Wex. Yeah, absolutely.
was
So
or no?
item number 21 is pavement milling and 1.5-inch super pave overlay at $189,000.
I'm gonna ask JJ if you can you look into that and see what that part was? To see if we can get an idea if it was in what the final plan was, what went on, because knowing and riding on that street there, that should have been, the road should be resurfaced.
Well,
So-
right, but I mean, fortunately, it wasn't quick action because now it's being trenched up again. And I believe last meeting, you said you would contact Pico and find out when they were going to be done. Have you been able to do that?
I've not gotten a response from Pico as to
Okay.
a specific date.
Okay.
They leave a large latitude where they were talking fall of having that complete.
Okay, the
I'm not
last
sure
thing
what-
you said
what
was
fall means.
before school started, so now we're saying fall.
They have a wide open window on this, so I'm not sure if there's been delays or conflicts underground.
Do we have any control over these people in our township?
We don't.
Wow.
Unfortunately, we don't. They work under,
So how we go after the
P-
county for the weeds?
how can we go up to the county?
Yeah.
I've done it before and I've cited the governor twice.
Okay, so.
So I'm not worried about that. So, but Pico operates under a whole different rules.
Okay.
We could haul the
So-
governor in.
Okay, so
All right.
on
yeah.
the, I hear that we're waiting for three things.
Yeah.
The original appendix B to have actual costs. We're going to have an itemized list of what we're paying the township $17,000 for. You're going to find out or come up with some plan to warrant the pumps and a schedule for paving. Okay.
Oh, wait a second, Bob, the 17,000 consists of two separate fees. The one fee is the reimbursement of our costs. The second is this tap-in fee that every homeowner pays when he or she taps into the system. And that, I mean, there's no backup to that. It's just.
I understand that. I understand that, Mark.
Okay.
What my big concern here is, it said in the estimate that everybody shook their heads to $4,600, $4,650, and now tonight I'm hearing 9,000. I'd like to understand why it's double.
And you are entitled to that information as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you. Have a good night, folks. Oh, I actually did want to comment and compliment the township on something, and I think it's all you. The information that is now on the website regarding the Board of Supervisors, the organization, the agendas, the minutes from the previous meeting before you actually get to the meeting. That's awesome. Thank you so much. I've been asking for that for months. Thank you.
Bob, what was it? Do you know what the total cost of those pumps was? No.
Did you want the cost of all the pumps together or just one?
No, all of them.
All of them is 292. Hang on, let me look.
That's all right.
Don't worry about it.
No, I have it
I'd
right
like
here.
to make a motion to adjourn.
It's page 216,029 altogether.
Thank you.
Yes.
I like to second Ed's motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.